On day 1, I spawned in as a lava wither. Wow, I'm so little, and I only have 4 hearts. I can still hover in the air a bit though, and yes, I can throw flaming wither skulls. Awesome. They don't seem very powerful though. It looked like I was in a town of some sort. All of a sudden, I was attacked by some villagers. One of them threw shears at me. How rude, but I'm keeping the shears. Hey, I know I threw some wither skulls, but I didn't hit anyone. I wasn't doing anything to you. I hurried and flew away, slowly. I wasn't very fast yet. Man, that was mean, but I can't afford to fight right now. I found a little cave and managed to find a corner that seemed safe. Tomorrow, I'll gather some supplies. And with that, I fell asleep. On day 2, I woke up feeling refreshed. I better get some supplies so I can build a shelter for myself. I actually liked the cave I was living in, so I decided to stay there. I chopped down some trees, and as I hit them, I saw that the trees were catching on fire. Oh, whoops! Smokey the Bear is going to be so mad at me. I'd have to be careful about what I touched, since it seems like I was pretty hot, literally. I had enough wood to make some tools for myself though. They were simple, but they did the trick. Then I almost made myself a nice little nook in the cave, but the pickaxe broke. I went to craft some stone tools, and while crafting, the crafting table set on fire. Oh man, I'll have to figure out a solution to this. I noticed that my hunger bar was getting a little low, but I didn't really know what withers like to eat. I guess I would have to go out and try a few things. I flew around the forest and found some mushrooms and other berries. I tried them, but it seemed like withers didn't like mushrooms. Blech, looks like no fungi for this wither. I continued on and saw some animals. Maybe I would like some eggs or chicken. Sorry guys, I ate the raw chicken, but I didn't like that either, and it barely refilled my hunger bar. I explored some more, but it started to get dark, so I decided to head home for the night. I'll try looking for some other food tomorrow. Maybe a nice salad? On day 3, I went looking around for some plants and grass. I went for the grass, but it only dropped seeds. Then I had the idea to use the shears on it, and voila, I got some dried grass. I decided to eat some dried grass, and finally it refilled my hunger a decent amount. Weird, but whatever does the trick, I guess. As I was eating, I thought I saw something moving behind a tree. Hello? I didn't hear anything, so I assumed I was alone. I kept eating my dry grass. I went exploring and realized that I was on an island. The water was so clear and beautiful, I wanted to touch it. I reached out, and it hurt me. I don't think I like water anymore. I mean, I'm literally made of lava, so it makes sense. I made sure to gather up some grass for later. I flew away from the shore. I decided to explore closer to the center of the island. There were lots of trees and bushes. There seemed to be a mountain in the middle of the island. Wait, no, it was a volcano. Oh, wow. I flew a little closer to the lower part of the volcano and realized there was some lava inside. Ooh, that feels nice. All of a sudden, some lava spewed up at me, hitting me out of the air. Ouch! I quickly flew away and headed back to my cave for the night. On days 4 to 5, I left the cave to go exploring some more. I realized later that someone was following me. I wasn't sure what it was, but I could see it darting away when I wasn't looking. I decided to hide behind some rocks and then pop out at it. It came around the rock, and I scared it. It was just a little butterfly. Hey, what are you doing following me?
I'm not.
Okay, sure. I kept going and waited again for the butterfly to come around the bend of a rock. You are following me, admit it.
Fine, I am, but I need your help.
Me? What can I help with?
You need to keep the island from exploding.
What? The butterfly sighed and flew away anxiously.
The island has been shaking and there have been small lava explosions. The town wise woman said that the island is going to be destroyed with a huge explosion. It can be prevented by a hero.
Me?
The town summoned you and you came, but one villager and his family were opposed to the whole thing, and he's the one that attacked you.
Rude.
Right? Anyway, you're our only hope.
Why me?
I assume it's because you're made of lava?
That would make sense, but I have no idea how to do that. I need to talk to the village wise woman.
Agreed.
The butterfly, who called herself Vanessa, led the way. On days 6 to 8, we arrived back at the village. We saw a few people around, but not many.
Those are the people who attacked you, Bruce and his son Bobby.
Vanessa pointed out some villagers outside with some pitchforks. They were arguing with some of the other villagers.
Here, I know how to get to the wise woman's house.
Vanessa led me around the back of some houses when we arrived at a home with a bell hanging outside. Nice.
I've been expecting you, young hero.
I flipped around to see a wise old woman with a basket of various dried grass on the table next to her.
I assume you are hungry.
Yes, thank you. She welcomed us in and she made Vanessa some tea.
You want to know how to defeat the volcano?
Oh, I don't even believe that I can. I'm so small.
You can. You just have a few steps to take.
She brought out what looked like an orb.
I knew that the volcano would erupt someday. The villagers turned to me to help, and I gave them a solution, but some would not listen. They will seek you out to hurt you. They believe you are evil and have ill intent.
Why would they think I'm evil?
Some withers are, but that is a choice, young friend. You choose your path. And for the sake of our island, I hope you choose wisely.
The orb suddenly started to glow, and I saw a figure inside. It looked like me, but bigger and stronger.
You can gain the ability to control the lava and tame the volcano, but it will take time. You will need to complete tasks in order to become the hero we so desperately need.
What do I need to do?
Only you will be able to know. The volcano will speak to you.
Speak to me? Interesting. It had gotten late, so the woman invited us to spend the night. On days 9 to 10, Vanessa and I woke up and went outside to collect some food from the old woman. Before we left, the wise woman said that in the vision, she also saw our struggles with setting things on fire. That's when she tossed out a cobblestone crafting table. Just what we need, thanks. Vanessa started to fly away.
I need to take care of some things, but you should go see what Bobby, one of the villagers, is doing.
I went ahead, and that's when I noticed a villager, who I assumed was Bobby, was outside among the other townsfolk. He looked angry. Then all of a sudden, he jabbed his pitchfork at an innocent villager.
Defend them.
Where did that voice come from? I decided to listen to it. Hey, leave them alone! I dashed over to help the villager and stop Bobby.
Get back, you devil! We don't want you here!
Bobby tried to stab at me, but I moved out of the way. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to save the island. Just please stop hurting people. Bobby looked surprised.
You're not going to eat us?
Ew, gross. I mean, no, why would I do that? Bobby looked shocked and he lowered his pitchfork.
My father has been telling everyone that withers are evil and can never be trusted. They feed on the souls of men.
Well, I definitely don't. I just like grass. Bobby seemed confused, but also relieved. He looked at me and nodded.
I will follow you, Tiny Wither. I know that I had my doubts, but you seem like you really care about our people and our island.
And I did. I knew they were just trying to make their way in the world like me. We could all live together in harmony. Just then, Bobby's father, Bruce, ran out of the house with a pitchfork. He ran towards me, but Bobby blocked him.
Dad, don't hurt him. He's just trying to help.
Get out of the way, boy. You don't know what you're talking about.
Then Bruce jabbed his pitchfork at Bobby.
Defend them.
Hey, leave them alone.
I spun towards Bruce, pushing him away. As I did, I threw one of my tiny little flaming wither skulls at him. It wasn't much, but it did a little bit of damage. It also gave him some wither effect.
You see? He's an evil creature. He will only cause pain and misery wherever he goes.
I am not evil. The only evil here is you. And with that, threw another flaming wither skull. It didn't take Bruce out, but it did bring him down.
Stop him. Make sure he doesn't hurt our friend again.
Bobby smiled at me and chained Bruce up, took his pitchforks, and took him off to the jail.
I'll come for you, Wither. You won't succeed in your evil plan.
Bobby came back over as Vanessa flew back as well.
Thank you,
Zozo.
Zozo. Thank you, Zozo. You are a welcome friend.
All of a sudden, I felt a power surge through me, and I leveled up into a slightly bigger wither. I had more hearts, and my flaming wither skull seemed more powerful too. Then I heard the ethereal voice again.
Well done, Zozo.
I looked around, but I didn't see where it came from.
Wow, neat.
Vanessa flew around me and did a little happy dance? I don't know, but it looked fun.
Wow, that was amazing.
Thanks, now let's see what my new wither skulls can do. I launched some skulls and saw that they did more damage than before. There was more room to grow, but this was definitely a good start. I felt amazing. I also felt a warmth in my heart. I think the voice I heard was the volcano calling to me. I defended the people, and it was happy. On days 11 to 12, Bobby helped me build a house in the village. Well, it was more like a nice cave in the side of a rock, since I would burn wood if I touched it. We figured that I should stay close. Vanessa flew in and saw that I was making a new home, and informed me that while she was gone before, she had decorated my old cave. And now that I was building a new place to live, she was sad I wouldn't be using her improvements. I told her not to worry, as I planned on bringing everything she had done in the old base to this new one. She seemed to like that and did her little happy dance. As I made my way to the cave, I noticed some spiders outside of it. They weren't too much of a threat, and I took them out easily. Easy peasy. I ate a bit of grass while looking at the new entrance of the cave, and one of the small spiders jumped up behind me and tried to bite me. I took it out with one hit. I went in and gathered my things, but before I could grab all of them, a huge spider dropped down from the ceiling. Aw, gross!
Who you calling gross, you three-headed freak?
Hey, that's not very nice. The spider lunged at me and I dodged around him. I was able to use my fireballs, but he kept getting hits in. I didn't think I could defeat him, but I managed to take him down. Phew, that was close. I guess I wasn't as strong as I thought. I still had a long ways to go before confronting the volcano. I gathered the rest of my things and headed back to the village. On days 13 to 15, I made my way back to my new cave. On the way, I noticed a small alcove and decided to mine out some materials. I found some cobblestone, iron, clay, blackstone, diorite, and of course, some flowers. Perfect, I can make these into better tools and armor. I can also use them to upgrade my base. I made my way back to the village with my new materials, excited about what I had found. When I got back, some of the houses were on fire. Vanessa flew up to me.
Zozo, the volcano erupted. It was just a small one, but some fireballs fell down from the sky and burned up some houses.
I looked around and knew I needed help. Bobby threw an empty bucket at me, and I hurried to the ocean to help take out the fire with the water bucket. Since I wasn't touching the water directly, I was fine and didn't get hurt. I asked Bobby to come with me, and we mined out some more stone. We needed to fireproof the houses, just in case. We helped the villagers make some improvements to their homes so they wouldn't catch fire again. It was hard work, but we all felt a little safer afterwards. Except I didn't get why the volcano was telling me to do things and then attacking people. There had to be some sort of explanation. While I thought about that, I decided to finish up my cave home by adding all of the things I had gotten from my old base. I also used some of the materials I had mined earlier, and last of all, I smelted down the iron so that I could craft some better tools and armor. On days 16 to 19, I woke up to the voice again.
Be strong for them.
I didn't know exactly what that meant, but I needed to find out. I went to the wise woman again and told her that the volcano had spoken to me. I also told her I didn't understand why it would attack the villagers.
To answer that question, you must talk to Bruce.
Bruce? The guy that tried to hurt me?
Precisely.
I didn't understand why, but I'm sure I would figure it out.
Subscribe.
Subscribe? Well, I guess if the volcano said it, then it's pretty important. I made my way out of the house into the jail cell where Bruce was being kept. I need to talk to you, Bruce.
Never.
He spit at me. Why do you hate me so much? He ignored me. I guess I could try again later. I headed out and went to find Bobby and Vanessa. I told them all about the volcano speaking to me and about Bruce. Bobby didn't seem surprised.
My dad doesn't really talk that much. It would take a miracle to find out what he knows.
Great, off to a strong start. I got back to my cave and made some better upgrades to my house. I even built Vanessa a little nook to stay in. She seemed to really like it.
Thanks, Zozo. You're awesome.
She really did know how to put a smile on my faces. On days 20 to 22, I woke up with that same voice in my head.
Be strong for them.
Can you at least tell me how? Silence. Great. I got up and decided to go out to the beachfront to look for some things and gather supplies. It was beautiful, but I had learned my lesson about water. Just then, a huge crab came out and tried to snatch me. Luckily, I was made of lava and I burnt him.
Ouch, that's rude. I wanted to eat you.
Trust me, you don't want to eat me. The crab looked at me, confused.
You're not a shrimp with 3 heads?
No, I'm a lava wither. Zozo, to be exact.
A lava wither? Haven't seen one of those since the last one was summoned.
Wait, there was another one? When? The crab clicked his claws for a minute and thought.
Probably like 40 years ago. Something like that. That was a small thing then.
This was new information. Thanks, you've been a big help.
I would say thanks to you, but you're not a shrimp, so I'm even hungrier.
And with that, the crab skittered away. What a weird guy. We had almost forgotten why we came to the beach, but then remembered and picked up some more sand. On days 23 to 26, I headed back to the village and started smelting the sand. Vanessa and Bobby came to say good morning. I told Bobby and Vanessa about what I learned from the crab.
Another wither was summoned? I wonder why nobody ever mentioned it.
Yeah, I wonder. I decided to talk to the wise woman again. She would have been around then, so she must know something. I confronted her and she sighed.
I had hoped that Bruce would have told you, but I suppose I must.
She grabbed her orb again and I saw images flash across it.
About 40 years ago, 2 young men in the village decided to play with magic. They had read about withers and decided that they wanted to summon one. They grabbed the items required from a weird magical room. They went about it correctly, but there are always risks. Once the wither was summoned, using magma blocks and wither skulls, it befriended the 2 young men. They kept it secret for a long time, but the wither wanted to be free. The boys promised that they would let him go, but they never did. The wither grew bitter and despised humans, especially the ones who had summoned him. One day, he managed to break free from its bonds. There was an argument between the 3, but the wither had had enough. He attacked the village and the 2 young men.
Let me guess.
Bruce was one of those young men. The other died trying to save Bruce's life. His name was Marcus.
So what happened to the wither?
It laid the village to ruins, destroying most, and then escaped, taking captivity in the volcano. It grew over time and now inhabits it. It seeks revenge on all humans, but it's been biding its time.
So it's not the volcano that is attacking people, it's the wither living inside. The old woman nodded.
But the spirit of the volcano has been battling with it for many years. It has grown weak, nearly on the brink of collapse. That is why we need you, Zozo. You must restore the volcano and defeat the wither corrupting it.
That was a lot to process. This wither had been growing for over 40 years. How could a small wither like me stand against something so powerful? On days 27 to 31, I woke up and knew where I needed to go. I went to Bruce and told him what I had learned. He looked tired today, not as angry.
I know what I did was wrong. I messed with power that I had no right to use. I wanted something special, and I treated it like garbage. It's all my fault that this is happening, but I can't fix it.
He seemed so sad, but I knew what I needed to say. That's why I'm here. I will protect you. All of you. Bruce looked at me and he smiled.
I owe you my life, Zozo. Thank you.
I unlocked the gate and let Bruce out of the jail. He couldn't embrace me, so he bowed a little bit instead.
I will follow you, little Wither. You are our strength.
Just then, I felt another surge of power, and I leveled up into a bigger Wither. I was now adult size. I felt that calm again, and then I heard the voice.
Well done, Zozo.
I was on the right path. Now, I just needed to prepare. On days 32 to 35, I tested out my new abilities. I could shoot bigger fireballs and could even fly faster. Bobby heard the explosion and came to take a look at what was happening. He was impressed. Bobby gave some materials and helped to set up an obstacle course with some targets to train with. We had to keep some water on hand though, so I wouldn't burn up all the trees.
Careful, Zozo!
I'm trying, I just have no idea what to expect. I'll be fighting another Wither, and I'm not even sure what tricks he has up his sleeve. Just then, I saw Bruce. He came over and decided to help me out too. He showed me how to do the crawling exercise. I was too big for it, so I just flew over the obstacle. Bruce was not impressed. He then showed me how to aim my shots with some target practice. I think I'm getting the hang of it. I had hit the target, but Bruce suddenly drew his bow at me. He started shooting, and I successfully dodged some arrows, but some hit me. When he stopped, he told me he was trying to teach me how to dodge. You could have given me a heads up first, but hey, thanks for your help.
No problem, Zozo. Anything for you.
Anything?
Within reason.
Good to know. He smiled and we all headed back to the village for some food. When we got there was a commotion at the center square. What's going on?
A small eruption came up out of the ground and swallowed a house.
We looked and indeed, there was a large spot where the house should have been. Instead, there was a pool of lava. Was anyone inside?
No, thank goodness, but it's not safe here.
The villagers all argued until Bruce hushed them.
We will take care of this. We will fortify the village and take precautions.
The villagers seemed a little at ease, but still scared. I was going to give it my all to protect these people. I just needed to know what to do next. On days 36 to 39, I waited for the voice of the volcano to guide me. There wasn't anything, and I felt a little bit frustrated. Why aren't you talking to me? Nothing. I decided that I would just wait, patiently, or at least try to. Bruce and I helped to further fortify the village. He threw us some materials, and we made some cobblestone walls. As we were doing so, Bruce brought up another idea.
Hey, Zozo, we want to build a statue in your honor. Also, as a reminder of hope. Do you have anything in mind?
I thought for a minute and then told Bruce what I would like. He smiled.
That sounds perfect.
We gathered the needed supplies and started to clear a spot for the statue. We built part of the base and hope to get it all done in a few days. Can you tell what it is? On days 40 to 43, we went out to explore the island. I guess I had some other things I needed to do before the volcano would speak to me again. We went looking around the volcano when something caught my eye. It was a large cave. I went in and saw that there were some diamonds. I quickly mined them all up along with some other materials. With this, I can make some diamond armor. Neat! I noticed some lava running through a part of the tunnel and wondered if that's how the houses were being swallowed up. I tried to create some barriers just in case. It felt so nice and warm, I decided to take a break and enjoy the lava. Just then, I felt something grab me from behind. I managed to squirm around and saw a giant squid was dragging me into the water. I wasn't burning him because his tentacles were wet, so I was helpless. Oh no! He swam into the water, pulling me with him. When I touched the water, I solidified and was basically useless. I tried to gurgle to make him stop, but he kept swimming further and further down. I saw my hearts dropping and thought this was the end. Just then, the squid released me into an alcove. Out of the water, I transformed back into a lava wither. My warm heart was enough to melt the stone back into lava. Hey, there you go, friend. I have saved you. Saved me? You almost destroyed me. The squid looked confused. Wait, you're not Lily? No, who's Lily?
My daughter!
I looked around and saw some axolotls coming up to me.
That's not her, Paul. You need to stop snatching people.
I looked at the axolotl and she looked at me. There was absolutely no resemblance.
Sorry about Paul. He is Lily's friend and she disappeared a few days ago. We think she might have been kidnapped by the other clan of axolotls. They live nearby, but their keep is protected by a shark.
Well, it sounds like you need help. I'll go look for her and bring her back to you.
Really? Wow, that is so kind of you. Here, you will probably need this.
The axolotl gave me a diving suit. I guess that solved the problem of me not being able to go into the water. Off onto another adventure. On days 44 to 49, Paul guided us close to the rival axolotl clan. He suddenly stopped and told us he saw the blue axolotl somewhere around here one time, but not sure exactly where. We thanked him anyway. I was close to the surface and took a look to see where I was. I recognized the area. I was next to the dry grass field. This was a great opportunity to use the diamonds I got, so I crafted a diamond sword, pickaxe, and shovel. That's when the crafting table caught on fire. Ah, not this again. The bench broke before we could craft all of the diamonds. Darn it. Well, at least I got some tools. Better than nothing, I guess. That's when I noticed a nice-looking lagoon. Inside of it, I spotted a cave. It seemed empty, so I made my way underwater to take a look. Inside the cave, I thought I could see the axolotls hiding in there. Just then, I was attacked by a shark. Hey, I'm just trying to save Lily. The shark didn't respond. He kept attacking me. Luckily, I had crafted a new sword, so I was able to take him out pretty quickly. I swam up to the cave and emerged from the water onto a dry area. The axolotls looked terrified of me. I just want to take Lily back home. One larger blue axolotl moved forward.
Lily is where she belongs. She loves me and wants to stay here.
I didn't see Lily anywhere, so I really didn't trust this guy. Then I heard a voice.
Help! I'm in here!
That must have been Lily. Her own choice, huh? The blue axolotl jumped at me and attacked. The other axolotls backed away, clearly frightened. I was able to take down the leader quickly, and the other axolotls thanked me.
Thank you, stranger. We've been captive to Blake for far too long. He wouldn't let us out and he kidnapped Lily as a way to start a war with the pink axolotls.
Why?
He was obsessed with Lily for months and wanted to marry her, but she said no. Then a few days ago, he captured her.
Well, you're all safe now. I went around the corner and found Lily trapped in a cave. I freed her and we all left the lagoon. I knew what I had to do. On days 50 to 53, I went back to the alcove of the pink axolotls with the blue axolotls and explained the situation. They made a truce and Lily's mom was more than happy to have her daughter home.
We owe you a great debt, Zozo. Take this as a token of our gratitude.
Then Lily's mom gave me a huge stash of diamonds. Wow, thank you!
Of course, if what I heard is true, you are embarking on a great quest to save our island. You will need it more than we do.
I thanked them again and then started the long journey back home. On days 54 to 57, I heard the voice of the volcano speak to me.
Sacrifice for them.
Sacrifice? I could do that. I just needed to figure out how. I quickly made myself an armor stand and hung my diving suit up. As I got to town, I noticed that the wise woman was outside looking at the sky.
Welcome back, Zozo. You have been gone for a long while.
I got mistaken for an axolotl and ended up saving the kidnapped daughter and joining the clans together.
Yes, as I expected.
I looked at her. She was still looking at the sky. She was an odd one, she was.
Another 2 houses have collapsed while you've been gone. We did our best, but the Wither grows angry. He is nearly on the brink of taking over the volcano.
I was really worried. Maybe the villagers could leave the island and find refuge somewhere else. I suggested it to the wise woman.
We don't run away from our problems, Zozo.
Not run away, just stay somewhere else.
We are safer here with you.
I turned and saw Bruce and Bobby approaching me. Are you sure?
Yes, young friend. All will be well soon enough.
We all looked at the sky together for a minute. Then Bobby leaned over and whispered to me.
What are we looking at?
We slowly backed away as the wise woman continued to look at the sky. We went and gathered some more supplies so we could continue to work on the statue. It was basically done, we just needed a few finishing touches. We also built some new houses and made sure that the foundations were solid. We also built them over the water in hopes that the other Wither would be less likely to attack them. The Wither would try to take us down, but we would prevail. On days 58 to 62, I woke up to Vanessa flying around nervously. What's wrong, Vanessa?
I think there's a storm coming, Zozo. Look!
I looked outside and sure enough, it started to rain. I guess I could try to walk around in my diving suit, but it would definitely make me slower. I don't think I should go outside.
I can't either. One raindrop could really hurt me badly.
I hadn't thought about that, but it made sense that Vanessa was pretty fragile. Her wings were paper thin. It's okay though, we can have a day in. We can play a game. Vanessa flew around me excitedly. We ended up playing some games, and she shared stories of her family. Where are they now?
I'm not sure exactly. They all migrated when I was still little. My wing was hurt, so I couldn't go with them.
That made me really sad. So they abandoned you? Vanessa landed. Her wings drooped a little bit. It's okay, Vanessa. I won't abandon you. I promise. Her wings lifted a little bit, and she fluttered around again.
Thanks, Zozo. You're a good friend.
Sacrifice for them.
I sighed. I'm trying. Bobby and Bruce eventually came over looking for us. We explained the situation, and they helped build a little overhang so we could travel to and from the village safely. I was really grateful and made some food for everyone. A little while later, I took the diamonds I had been given and made myself some nicer armor. Wow, this stuff was amazing. I could take on anything with this. On days 63 to 66, I went out to go test my new armor. I went out to the jungle area where I hadn't been before. Maybe I could find some more food items. I was getting a little bit low on dried grass and only had 5 peas left. Vanessa had told me about something called chocolate, and it didn't sound half bad. I would go looking for some cocoa beans. I was foraging through the trees when I entered a clearing. It looked like there was something written in the ground. It was that thing that the volcano had said to me. Be sure to listen to that little voice in your head telling you to subscribe. I started gathering some dried grass when all of a sudden I heard some loud screaming. I didn't see anyone around me, but then I realized it was coming from the sky. The volcano was spewing fireballs. I hurried and dodged around them, but one hit me. It was small, but it was enough to knock me over. Apparently, these fireballs are extremely hot since they set me on fire. What is this magic? I'm not supposed to burn. Another fireball hit me. Ouch, stop that.
What's the matter? Can't take a little heat?
I looked around but didn't see anyone. It sounded like the voice of the volcano, but much harsher. Hello?
Small little wither, you are nothing, but I can make you great.
I assumed it was the Wither inhabiting the volcano. I'm not listening to you.
Why not? We are, after all, brothers.
I'm not your brother. You are a bully, preying on the innocent.
Innocent? They captured me and kept me as a pet. I knew I was destined for more. I had my revenge with the power I possessed, but I am so much more now. The time will come when I obtain all the power of the volcano, and then I will truly have my revenge.
What they did was wrong, but they're sorry. You don't need to blow up the entire island because you're mad. The voice screamed and fireballs rained down around me. I tried to dodge, but I couldn't handle all of it. A fireball hit me and everything went black. On days 67 to 70, I woke up in darkness. After a minute, my body lit up the space, and I realized I was buried. Oh, great, now I have to dig my way out. I started using my tools to chip away at the hardened lava. It took a few minutes, but I was finally able to free myself. The clearing I had been in was now just a large pool of lava. Good thing I was made of the stuff, otherwise I would have been trapped. I flew over the hot magma and started to make my way back to the village. If the Wither had thrown this big of a tantrum here, I'm sure he did some damage to the village. When I arrived, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. I realized the Wither must have used up all his strength trying to hurt me. I was relieved. Just then, I saw Bobby running up to meet me.
Zozo, come quick!
I followed after him into his house. What's wrong?
It's my dad. I can't find him anywhere.
I thought for a minute, then something dawned on me. He must have gone to talk with the Wither in the volcano. That's the only thing I can think of. Bobby looked sick to his stomach.
He doesn't need to do that.
He probably feels responsible, but don't worry, Bobby. I'll go find him. I hurried and flew back to my cave to gather some supplies. On my way out, I noticed Bobby was waiting for me with a pack on his back.
I'm coming with you.
It's too dangerous, Bobby.
It's my dad. I have to do something.
He was right. I wouldn't want to stay behind either.
He will probably go back to where it all started, on the desolate side of the island.
Then that's where we'll go. On days 71 to 74, we went tromping through the island slowly. Bobby couldn't fly like me, but I wanted to keep a low profile anyways. We mostly traveled in the jungle and gathered food as we went. Hey, more cocoa beans! I totally forgot to make chocolate when I was in the village. I'll have to do that when I get back.
Sacrifice for them.
Sacrifice what? The cocoa beans? I think the volcano was losing it. We kept traveling and came upon a small pond. We made a small shelter and decided to stay there for the night. Bobby couldn't really sleep because he was so worried about his dad. It's okay, Bobby. We'll find him.
I sure hope so.
It was quiet for a while, but then out of nowhere came some more spiders. Ah, gross! Bobby helped me fight them off, and in no time they were all gone.
Now I really won't be able to sleep.
I'll keep watch, don't worry. Bobby nodded and then managed to eventually fall asleep. I hoped I could keep my promise to him. He really needed his dad, and I didn't want to see him lose him. On days 75 to 78, we kept trekking through the jungle. I could tell that Bobby was really tired, but he kept pushing through. We came to a large cliffside and realized that we needed to climb up it. We started to ascend, but then the island started to shake.
Zozo!
The island kept shaking, and then suddenly the cliffside split. Bobby fell halfway into the cliff and managed to hold onto a ledge. I looked down and noticed Bobby was barely holding on. I went to grab him, but remembered I would burn him.
Zozo, move!
I maneuvered around them and managed to get to the ledge. Then I mined some blocks and created a safe path for Bobby to get back to safety.
Wow, that was intense.
You're telling me. We waited for a minute, just in case there was another earthquake.
I hope the villagers are okay.
I'm sure it's fine. I wasn't too sure, but I had to be hopeful.
I need a break and some water.
I nodded and let him rest for a bit. We decided to make camp and I made a small shelter. We set up a fire and Bobby was able to fall asleep right away. Having a near-death experience will do that to you. On day 79 to 84, we trekked further down the side of the volcano. We finally made it to the bottom, and just as expected, there was a barren wasteland. Everything was dried up and dusty. Bobby looked around in awe.
This is
Empty?
sad.
I nodded in agreement. So much destruction and pain. It needed to be healed and restored to the way it once was. We started to make our way through, but then Bobby was attacked by some snakes.
Ouch!
He stabbed them with his pitchfork, but more were getting bites in. Hey, stop it! I threw fireballs at them and managed to take them out, but Bobby looked pretty bad. You okay, buddy?
I think I've been poisoned. I need some medicine. It's in my bag.
He managed to grab some and take it. The wilderness is not kind to you, my friend. Bobby laughed.
No, it is not. After this, I'm never leaving home again.
His laugh got quiet.
I wonder how my dad is doing with all of this.
You're weak. I'll go get you some food.
Where?
I looked around. Touché. Instead, I located a large dead branch and severed part of it off. I gave it to Bobby to use as a crutch.
Thanks.
We slowly but surely made our way further into the wasteland. On days 85 to 89, Bobby and I arrived at what looked like the remnants of the village. Some of the stones were still there, but there wasn't much.
This must be it. My dad has got to be close by.
Bobby threw down his crutch and went scrambling around the ruins. I went looking around but didn't see much. Then I noticed something shining across the land. I flew toward it and saw a metal-looking container buried in the ground. I unearthed it and discovered it was a cage. Bobby came up beside me.
Is that?
It's where I kept it.
We both flipped around to see Bruce emerging from a small hole in the ground. It was partially hidden by a rock, which is why we didn't notice it in the first place. Bruce approached us and touched the side of the cage.
It's where I kept Aiden, the other Wither.
Bruce seemed really upset and he started to cry.
I've made so many mistakes. All of this is my fault. I need to fix what I broke.
Not like this, Dad. Don't sacrifice yourself. You only give him what he wants.
Bruce didn't say much else, but we followed him into a small cave. We stayed there for a while to rest up while I devised a plan. On days 90 to 94, I woke up to Bobby yelling at Bruce.
It's not your responsibility.
Yes, it is. Don't try to stop me, Bobby. I'm doing this for you. For all of you.
What about Zozo? He promised he would help us, and he will.
I can't let someone innocent pay for my mistakes. Not anymore. Sacrifice for them.
I knew what I needed to do. Bruce went back to his room in a huff, and I came up to Bobby. I know what I have to do. Just promise that you won't follow me, and make sure your dad stays here.
Is this goodbye, Zozo?
No, I'll be back. Don't you worry. Bobby nodded and then went up to the opening of his dad's room. We lured Bruce towards the cage, telling him that we found something interesting in there. When Bruce wasn't looking, we pulled him inside the cage and locked the door. He looked stunned. This is for your own good, Bruce. Don't follow me. He sat there and begged me.
Please, Zozo.
It's okay, Bruce. It's what I'm supposed to do. On days 95 to 97, I continued flying toward the volcano. It spewed lava here and there, but I dodged past it. When I was a good distance away, I stopped and hovered. Aiden, I've come to talk to you. The voice I heard before let out an ugly scream and spewed more lava at me.
You dare to call me what that monster named me?
I'm here to take his place, Aiden. I know you hate him, but he needs to live. Take me instead. I saw the lava spew out further, almost hitting me.
Why would you sacrifice yourself for such measly humans?
Because it's the right thing to do. The voice laughed.
Oh, this will be fun.
I moved closer to the volcano to see if I could spot Aiden. Suddenly, the volcano reached out and snatched me, pulling me into its burning embrace. Everything went black. On day 98, I woke up inside the lava. I heard the voice of the volcano.
Well done, Zozo.
I felt a powerful surge run through me, and I burst from the ground into the air. I leveled up into a full-sized wither. But then I felt a different kind of power. It was much bigger and stronger than me. I realized I could control the volcano. I focused my energy and forced Aiden to fly out. He was out of the volcano, but the fight wasn't over. He was as big as I was, probably stronger. But what choice did I have? I flew toward him, spewing lava and shooting witherheads. He fired witherheads back at me, but at long last, one of my wither skulls knocked Aiden down. On day 99, I approached Aiden. He looked like a normal wither like me, but he shook with anger.
How dare you! That was my home!
You have no right to use all that power for evil. This ends here, Aiden. I commanded the lava to burst up and around him and solidify to his body, caging him in. He was stuck, and he knew it.
Let me go! I have to make them pay! They're all evil and can't change. They don't deserve to live.
You're wrong, Aiden. And with that, I slashed at Aiden and defeated him.
Thank you, my friend. You have proven yourself worthy of my power.
The volcano spoke to my mind, and I felt a stronger connection with it. I was now its guardian, if I stayed worthy of it. It felt right. On day 100, I freed Bruce and told him the good news. He followed me and Bobby back to the village, where we all lived happily and safely. The people celebrated, and I finally made some chocolate chip cookies. We also finished the last part of the statue, and it looked awesome. Everything was right on the island. Finally.
On day 1, I spawned in as a fire WITHERSTORM, a force of pure fiery destruction. Why am I so puny? I only had 6 hearts to begin with, but I knew WITHERSTORMs grew stronger by absorbing blocks and mobs. I tried to absorb some of the nearby blocks and grow bigger, but it didn't work. Maybe I needed to unlock that ability first. It also looked like I couldn't really fly yet. At least I'm immune to fire. The area I spawned into was a molten lava field that would be really dangerous for regular mobs. It was like home sweet home, but there was nothing to destroy. I didn't see any other WITHERSTORMs either, so I figured I had been left behind by the others while they went off to grow bigger. Wait for me, guys! I ran around looking for my friends until I saw something really strange. There was a snowy biome right next to this fire one. What's the deal? Everyone knows that fire and ice don't mix. I heard a growl behind me and saw a fire Cerberus looking really hungrily at me. Hey, WITHERSTORMs aren't nutritious! I hit the Cerberus, but because I was so small, the damage was nothing. I was losing hearts fast to its bite, so I decided to run away. I ended up running straight into a Vex that wanted a piece of me too. All of a sudden, Fireland doesn't feel that much like home. I jumped down into a lava pit and hid myself away. I knew they couldn't follow me because of my fire immunity, so I stayed there safely until the next day. On day 2, I hopped out of the lava pit and found some burnt out trees. It wasn't what I was expecting, but at least I could gather some wood to make my first tools. I've never seen a Wither make anything before, but it's nice to be the first at something. These tools would probably burn up if I used them here, so I made my way towards that snowy biome that I saw the other day. On the border between the fire and ice biomes, there was a wide river with a strong current. If I try to cross that, I'll be put out like a campfire. I didn't have enough wood to build a bridge, so I followed the banks of the river to see if there was a place where it was safe to cross. That's when I noticed something small flying towards me from across the river. It was an imp with icy wings.
Do not cross this river. I'm warning you, Fireface.
That's rude. First of all, my name is Zozo. Second, why do you care if I cross it?
It's not me who cares. The Ice Meister is the one who doesn't want anyone from the Firelands coming over here.
I'm a WITHERSTORM first, and a fire creature second. I'll go where I want.
My warning still stands. There's a war going on, and Ice Meister plans on winning it.
A war between the creatures of ice and fire? That sounds heated and chilling.
Steer clear of it, Fireface. Zozo.
Thanks. I finished the day by mining some stone blocks from the side of the river with my new set of tools. On day 3, I started building a base on my side of the river with some stone blocks as the foundation. Whoever this Ice Meister guy is, he can't be mad at me if I don't leave the Firelands. I was still really weak for a fire WITHERSTORM and needed something to protect me from all the wandering mobs until I could unleash my full potential. I was betting that the mobs could sense my true potential, and that's why they were attacking me. Almost done putting up the walls, I'll be safe now. It turned out I spoke too soon, because a dread beast ran inside the base and started trying to infect me with its plagues. I pulled out my wooden sword and swung away at the mob. The wooden sword caught on fire as soon as I started using it. It felt good to be the one attacking for a change, probably because I hadn't gotten to do any actual destroying yet. With the final blow, the wooden sword got destroyed, but I downed the beast. Bye-bye, beastie. Hey, I wonder if I can use my absorb ability on it now. Come on, let's go! Absorb! The ability actually worked this time. The dread beast and a bunch of the surrounding blocks got added into my body. I had gotten way bigger, and my total number of hearts was 14 now. I had 3 tentacles now instead of none. I could make 3 times as many melee attacks now. The only downside was that absorbing more material into myself made part of my base disappear. I better be careful what I absorb in the future. I replaced the blocks that got absorbed and made sure to finish the foundation, and replaced my broken wooden sword with a new stone one. This one should last longer now. I plan to go and gather more stone tomorrow. On days 4 to 5, I went looking for more stone by the riverside. This time, I noticed that part of the river was frozen solid, like somebody had built a bridge of ice blocks over the running water. If I tried to walk on it, the ice would melt. But something told me the ice and snow mobs wouldn't have the same problem. I was right. There was already a taiga zombie on the fire side of the river.
How many times does the Ice Meister need to teach a lesson?
Hey, I've stayed on my side. Why can't Ice Master stay on his?
It seems you don't remember what you used to be.
What did I used to be?
You were the Ice Meister's greatest rival, the leader of all the fire mobs in this world. You almost melted all of the snow zone before he defeated you.
Whoa, I used to be the ruler of the fire side of the river? That's really cool. What happened that made me so small and weak?
That's not your business anymore. I'll destroy you before you become that powerful ever again.
The taiga zombie clearly wanted a fight, so I made sure to give it one. The zombie had only one weapon, and I had 3 tentacles and a stone sword, so he was quickly outmatched. I won! Now I'll absorb you too. The absorption didn't work this time, which probably meant that the ice mobs were totally immune. That was disappointing, but important to know. I finished off the zombie and gathered as much of the stone as I could before my wooden pickaxe broke. I went back to my base with the stone I gathered. If there really is a war, I need to get fortified. On days 6 to 8, I found some lost tentacles lying around in the Firelands. I wonder if these used to be mine when I was big and strong. The mysteries grow deeper. I couldn't attach them back onto myself, but I did know of another way to put them to good use. First, I had to gather sticks from around the burnt trees. Next, I upgraded my wooden tools to stone. This let me mine for a couple ingots of iron and gold beneath the Firelands. With access to both sticks, gold, and iron, I was able to craft a hook. Then, I combined the lost tentacles with my hook in order to make a tentacle grab. This special item would let me grapple enemies and keep them from getting away. It would be perfect for keeping mobs within melee range. Not long after I crafted the tentacle grab, I noticed a few ice mobs on this side of the river. They were ice piglins, and they were not happy to see me. Get out of here! Go tell Ice Meister that I survived, and I'm going to become big and strong again. They started moving towards me. Time to test out my new weapon. I quickly struck down the first mob, and then the second. I then snared the ice piglin with a tentacle grab and pulled him in for a tentacle beatdown. Bet you weren't expecting that. Those old lost tentacles were good for something after all. The piglin was defeated. Ice Meister would have to do better than that if he wanted to eliminate me for good. And next, I was going to strike back. It was time to see what this snowy biome was all about. On days 9 to 10, I gathered as much stone as I could find and built a sturdy bridge over the river. Now I can cross over to Ice Master's side of the river and see what I'm up against. The snowy biome had tons of materials that I had never seen on the fiery side of the river. There are blocks of lapis, and the polar bears dropped some pelts, which I used for decoration on my base. I continued through the tundra, seeing all sorts of wonderful things along the way. This was a nice area. It would be a shame if I had to burn it all down. That's when I saw him, Ice Meister. Memories of the last time we fought came flooding back to me. I was a lot bigger than I am right now when I lost to him, but it seemed like he used some kind of enchantment on me. I had to find out more. I approached Ice Meister confidently. Remember me?
It can't be. You're the Fire WITHERSTORM from across the river.
That's right. And you're going to stop sending ice mobs into the Firelands, or we're gonna have a problem.
Pathetic little puff of smoke. I'll let you live just this once, but only because I've already sealed your power away.
I didn't know what he meant, but I had the feeling he wouldn't be so understanding if I stuck around. I turned back towards the river so that I could make my way home. When I got to the stone bridge, I noticed a brown bear halfway over the bridge.
Oh, hey, don't mind me.
Please, don't tell me you're another ice mob invading my territory.
Me? Not at all. I'm trying to get somewhere warmer. Are you from the Firelands?
Actually, I used to be top dog over there. I am Zozo, the Fire WITHERSTORM.
I'm Reginald. All the other bears like the cold, but I'd rather be in a nicer climate. Everywhere Ice Meister goes, he freezes the terrain and starts building cities made out of ice.
Well, then you'll be right at home in the Firelands. It'll always be warm there. On days 11 to 12, Reginald and I returned to my base on the fire side of the river. I soon made an extra room for him with a sunroof so he could get the most out of the pleasant weather. After that, I went to mine for more iron with my stone pickaxe. Because of all the lava, the Firelands were rich in obsidian, which I could gather later. It's a sturdy material that would make my base stronger. But before I could get enough ingots, I was ambushed by a wildkin. It did a ton of damage with a single attack. Ow, my heart! I couldn't get any further into the iron mine with that mob down there, so I ran back above ground. I have to unlock more of my former abilities. What else do WITHERSTORMs do? I concentrated as hard as I could on one of the nearby magma cubes. With some effort, I was able to fire a Wither Skull projectile. The mob was destroyed in one hit. Wither Skulls, that's it! The Wildkin would take more than a few Wither Skull attacks to be defeated, but I could at least weaken it before it got close. I went back down into the iron mine and put my plan into action. The Wildkin was waiting for me, so I wasted no time blasting him with 3 Wither Skulls. Now I could fight at close range without worrying about getting worn out. The Wildkin's claws were still doing damage to me, but I had 3 tentacles, so my attacks were much faster. Once I beat him, I crafted an iron pickaxe and mined the obsidian from the surface of the Firelands. This obsidian will look great on my base. I was right. The obsidian made a perfect addition to the outer walls. My base was becoming a real fortress. On days 13 to 15, I started to remember more of what happened back when I was a fully grown fire WITHERSTORM. I was huge and absorbing everything in sight. I remember the terrain being covered in ice, but unlike the snowy biome next door, it was the middle of the ocean. I must have been able to fly here from the Firelands. Down below, I saw ICE WITHERSTORM. He was slightly smaller than the present day, so this must have been his younger self. Hahaha, you're not so tough. Move aside, Pipsqueak.
I won't let you destroy my home.
He sounded really upset, and from the look of things, it seemed like I was the one who had attacked first. I saw ICE WITHERSTORM hold a black block, and it began absorbing me. No, impossible! My destructive power!
Your true form is sealed now. It will never escape this enchanted block.
I fell down to the ground, a tiny and weak version of what I used to be. I'll be back one day. ICE WITHERSTORM called some other snowmen to put me on a block of ice, which floated away from this land and down the river to the Firelands. Back then, the Firelands were on both sides of the river. The dream ended there. It seemed like ICE WITHERSTORM just wanted revenge because of what I did, but he showed mercy to me the last time I was there in spite of that. I can't believe I used to be the bad guy. I should just leave the ice mobs alone from now on. That might be the only way to make up for all the destruction I caused when I was big. On days 16 to 19, I decided to tell Reginald about the memories I was having. I felt really bad about what I did, so I needed to talk to a friend. I thought ICE WITHERSTORM was the bad guy, but it turns out I made him that way because I bullied him and melted his home.
That is a lot. Have you thought of saying sorry and trying to do something nice for him?
I might have messed up too badly for that. There's no way to undestroy something.
Being sad about it won't fix the problem neither.
Ah, you wouldn't get it. I ran away from the base, leaving Reginald behind. He was better off without me anyway. I was a destructive bad guy, and he was just a regular bear. How could he understand what I was feeling right now? While I was out wandering the Firelands, I saw a village under attack by taiga zombies. Oh no, I have to help! Without even thinking, I raced to the aid of the villagers. The zombies were easier to defeat this time, now that I was bigger and I could clear out several at once. The villagers cheered as I drove the last of the ice mobs off. Their home was saved, and I actually felt good. The Firelands were attacked because of me, but I'm going to save them anyway. I can't change the past, but I will stop this war and save my home.
Thank you, Zozo. We were hoping someone would protect our village from the ice mobs, but we never expected you would return to save us.
I'm back, and better than ever. The villagers brought a large stack of blocks out of their houses and set them down in front of me.
We were storing these blocks for you to absorb, so you could become strong again.
You're not afraid of my true form?
No way! You were always nice to us fire mobs, and with you around, nobody messed with us. Go on, absorb those blocks.
I did what the villager said and became an even larger fire WITHERSTORM. My total number of tentacles was 5, and I had 3 heads now. Hi, hello. My armor and hearts were both increased too, with iron level durability and 25 hearts. I was really starting to resemble my old self. In a good way, I hoped. Do you villagers know anything more about how I used to be?
We do know one thing. The legendary block that contained your true form was hidden away by Ice Master after he defeated you the first time. If you can find that, you'll be back to full power in no time.
Full power! I like the sound of that. Even though taking my old form could make me a bad guy again, I decided to find the sealed block anyway. If I'm going to end this war, I may as well be prepared to do whatever it takes. On days 20 to 22, I went back to the base so I could apologize to Reginald for running away. I found him outside the base, fending off some polar bears.
It's over, Reginald. You're coming home with us.
No, this is my friend's base, and I'm protecting it until he comes back.
You're a fool. We were right to kick you out of the Polar Bear Club.
I ran over to help. Reginald, I'm back. I'm so sorry I yelled at you.
Oh, it's the firestorm. Retreat.
The polar bears ran away in fear in the sight of me.
Thank you, Zozo. I'm glad you came back.
What are friends for? Now that the base was safe from the ice mobs, I started laying the foundation for a statue. I would need a lot of obsidian, so I got to mining as much as I could. With my pickaxe, I diverted part of the river into the Firelands to create even more obsidian where the lava was flowing freely. This also let me improve the base with a moat that even the ice mobs would have trouble crossing. I made sure to give it a drawbridge, and I filled it with lava. That should be enough obsidian to get started. What do you think I'm building? Also, subscribe to Zozo if you want to see more of my adventures. On days 23 to 26, the base was attacked by more ice mobs. Those polar bears who bullied Reginald must have told Ice Master where I was. There was a whole pack of frost stalkers trying to get in. They were some strong mammoths, but fortunately, they weren't the kind that were clever enough to open doors. Thanks to the blocks I absorbed in the village, I was big and strong enough to give them a real thrashing. The last one to be defeated dropped their pelt, which I used to craft a frost stalker cloak. With this, I could disguise myself as a frost stalker and infiltrate the snowy biomes. I traveled over the stone bridge and into the cold forest where the froststalkers lived. The cloak's disguise worked like a charm. I could tame the froststalkers and have them keep other mobs out of the forest. The trees here were made of spruce wood, which couldn't be found in the Firelands. I should take some home with me since I'm here. I would have stayed longer, but I was worried about being discovered by the Ice Meister. I went back to the base and built myself a fireplace that would put the spruce wood to good use. When I went back outside, I saw a fire elemental hanging outside the walls of the base.
Excuse me, is this where the resistance is?
Resistance?
You know, the resistance against Ice Meister and his army of ruthless conquerors. Some villagers told me that the Fire WITHERSTORM was coming back. Is that you?
Yep, that's me.
Oh wow, I'm your biggest fan. I wanted to join up with you and help save our home.
You're a fan of me? Wow, I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I'll let you in. It's safer inside of the base.
Sweet.
I added a room made completely out of obsidian to the base for the fire elemental to live inside. On days 27 to 31, I had another vision, but this time it wasn't from the past, but from the present. I could feel my sealed destructive power calling out for me from inside the enchanted block. It seemed like it had been locked away inside of some kind of underground vault. I didn't get to see the outside of the chamber, but my best guess was that the entrance was somewhere in the snowy biome. I went to the stone bridge in order to cross, but saw that it had been destroyed while I was away. That must have been the Ice Meister's doing. It looked like the mob who did it was still there. A ferocious yeti that was bigger and badder than any ice creature I had faced yet. It snarled and charged at me. You may have wrecked my bridge, but I'm a lot tougher. I launched a wither skull at him before hitting him with the tentacle grab. The yeti attacks were strong, but so were mine. After fighting the big lug for a bit, I let go of the grapple and pushed him into the river. The fast-moving current washed him far away. I jumped over the gaps of the bridge and made it to the other side. On days 32 to 35, I came across a village of icemen. They'll probably attack me if they find out who I really am. I'd better blend in. I used the Frostwalker cloak in hopes that they'd think I was just a mammoth passing through. It didn't really work.
It's the leader of the fire mobs.
Darn it, there goes that plan.
What do you want with us?
Don't be afraid, I'm not a bad guy anymore. I just want my powers to be unsealed. Do you know where the Ice Meister is keeping the block?
I can tell you that it's not anywhere in the Snowlands. Ice Meister didn't want you to invade us looking for it.
I'm not invading, I swear.
Like we'd believe you.
It wasn't on this side of the river. That was bad news on its own. It was even worse because the villagers were really scared of me. I figured I might as well leave, and then Ice Meister showed up.
What's this, Iceman? Are you seriously being friends with a fire mob? That's not cool.
No, Ice Meister. It's the leader, the Fire WITHERSTORM you sealed away.
That's even worse. I should have you all frozen for this betrayal.
Hey, don't blame them. I'm the one you want.
And you, I told you I'd only spare you once.
Then come and get me. Ice Meister started chasing me, so I ran away from the Iceman village back to the river. Thinking quickly, I took a risk and jumped in. The water would deal damage to me, but I had enough hearts to withstand it now. I had gotten away from the Ice Meister, but the current took me for a ride. That was until I hit an ice bridge further down the river and was able to swim back to shore. It was the Icemen. They had come to save me.
Thank you for distracting Ice Meister. He's gotten really angry lately, and he's obsessed with war. You protected us, so I guess we misjudged fire mobs.
No sweat. Come on, follow me back to the base. On days 36 to 39, I made some big changes to the base, so the Icemen who were staying here wouldn't be too uncomfortable with the heat. I carefully made a big pool filled with water for them to cool off. You can never have enough water fun. Well, I can, but you guys have a good time.
You got that right.
Now that you're all here, why don't you tell me more about that block that contains my true form?
Ice Meister said he hid it in a place that is neither fiery or icy, a pasture with a balanced climate and huge fields of crops.
It sounds like there wouldn't be any war happening there.
Yeah, wherever it is.
After talking to the Iceman, I did some more work on my statue. I've moved past the foundation, and it's starting to take shape. Do you know what it could be? On days 40 to 43, the base was visited by a friendly dragonfly.
Salutations!
I've heard that you're trying to take the fight to the Ice Meister.
You heard correctly.
All right, it just so happens that I know about a way to upgrade your Wither Skulls.
Oh, tell me!
There's an ice mob outpost upriver from here where they're keeping the power-up, which will turn your Wither Skulls to blue Wither Skulls. It's guarded by a goat centaur archer, so be careful.
I followed the dragonfly's advice and went to the outpost. As soon as I got there, the archer started opening fire. I avoided the arrows and struck back with my Wither Skulls. Kablam! I'm a pretty good shot. Inside the outpost was the blue Wither Skull power-up. I absorbed it, and my projectile attacks became twice as strong. These blue ones do serious damage. I felt the call of my sealed self further upriver, so I decided to trust that feeling and keep going. On days 44 to 49, I was astounded by how beautiful the biome around me was. There were crops growing everywhere, and the grass was lush and green. So this is what the world would look like if fire and ice weren't fighting? There were still dangers out here. A whole pack of coyotes tried to eat me, but I was too spicy. That's a fire joke. The coyotes turned away from me and ran back into the field of crops. I saw them a couple seconds later chasing a poor scarecrow.
Help! Help! If only I had a way out of this mess!
Hang on, I'm coming! I ran in and smacked the coyotes with my sword, scaring them off. Why were they chasing you? I thought coyotes ate meat.
They're vegetarian coyotes, and most of my body is made out of vegetables.
Oh, glad I could help.
I'm Straw Bastion. Feel free to make yourself at home. There are plenty of crops here, all nourished by the magical power source we keep underground.
This magical power source wouldn't happen to look like a black block, would it?
Oh, I've never seen it personally. All I know is that it has a great fiery power which can keep the ground nice for cultivating crops.
That has to be my sealed form. On days 50 to 53, I followed Straw Bastion as he showed me around his peaceful land. I was keen to get my hands on my true form, but I didn't want to scare him since he seemed like a nice guy. Has this place always been so peaceful?
There isn't any great war, if that's what you're asking. But we do have our own problems.
Like what?
Look around. All this delicious food and nobody to eat it. Every season, so much of it goes bad because the people in the surrounding lands don't come to visit.
Well, I'll make sure that changes.
That reminds me, there's another traveler here.
Oh, how nice. Do I know them? Turns out I did. The Yeti who broke my bridge jumped out and attacked me. He must have swam all the way back up. Let's finish what we started. I grappled him and we began to fight. Straw Bastion got scared, so he ran away. I wanted to go check on him, but I had to teach this Yeti a lesson first. Don't break people's stuff! I hit him with my Wither Skull and the Yeti was no more. After the fight, I looked around for Straw Bastion but couldn't find him. I guess I'll come back later. I was walking home when I ran into another vegetable person. This one had a tomato for a head. Wait, are tomatoes fruits or vegetables?
What's it to ya?
Sorry, I'm just looking for the legendary enchanted block. How do you get to it?
You gotta dig for it, but you'll need better tools than that. There's a garden shed nearby with a strong shovel you can use.
I took the Tomato Man's advice and found a diamond shovel inside of a nearby abandoned shed. The shed was too small for me, so I used my tentacle to pull the shovel towards me without damaging the shack. On days 54 to 57, I told everyone at the base about the peaceful fields upstream. All the fire and ice villagers were excited about all the food there and wanted to visit. To make the journey easier, I made rowboats out of the spruce wood. While I was working, Reginald came outside to join me. He said he wanted to ask me something. What is it, buddy?
I wanted to mention something about this place with all the vegetables.
Doesn't it sound amazing?
It does, for everybody else. But bears don't eat greens. We prefer fish, and lots of it.
Oh, I get what you're saying. You want me to rustle up a source of fish so that you can have your favorite food too.
Yeah, as long as it's not too much to ask.
You've got nothing to worry about, my friend. I decided to go fishing, but not with nets or fishing poles. I dug a gigantic hole in the ground. It was big enough to be a pond. Just add water. Reginald would have all the fish he needed right here at the base.
Thank you so much. Here's a weapon I think you could use. Like you, it's a destroyer.
Reginald handed me a powerful breaking weapon. My excavations would be a lot easier with that bad boy in my arms. On days 58 to 62, the statue was really starting to come together. You could almost guess what it was going to be. A new wave of ice mobs suddenly broke through the base's defenses. There were ice piglins, frost stalkers, and even new enemies I hadn't seen before. Who let them in?
Zozo, help!
I saw Reginald being attacked by those polar bears again. Thinking quickly, I put on my Froststalker helmet and sent some of the Froststalkers to deal with them. Reginald and I ran away to another part of the base together. When we were there, we saw that the fire villagers and icemen were fighting. Hey, break it up! What's going on here?
I knew we couldn't trust the people of the Snowlands.
You're the ones who couldn't accept us.
Enough! I shouted loudly and got everyone's attention. I probably scared them, but at least they stopped fighting. Stay here and don't hurt each other. I'll go deal with the enemies outside. Reginald, you're in charge.
Yes, sir.
I left Reginald and the villagers in the safe place behind my house and fought back the ice mobs single-handedly. There was one friend I hadn't seen in there, and I was becoming worried. Come on, Fire Elemental, where are you? I discovered him at the drawbridge, surrounded by ice mobs. They had already depleted most of his health by the time I got there. I wanted to do something, but it was too late.
Sorry, Zozo. I thought we could win, so I called for a battle.
It's okay, I'm here now. We'll win.
Oh, good. You can do it, Zozo.
With that, the fire elemental faded away. He had been so brave, and unlike me, he wasn't coming back from this. This was Ice Meister's fault, and he was going to pay. On days 63 to 66, I went to the Snowlands and tried to convince the local creatures to stop the war. This battle is between Ice Meister and myself. None of you need to get involved. If you don't want to fight me, there is a place at the top of the river with plenty of food and no war. If you stay here, Ice Meister will force you to invade the Firelands. A few of them seemed to listen and started heading upstream, but one ran out of the crowd of snow creatures and attacked me.
For Ice Meister, I will defeat you. You cannot be allowed to reclaim your true form.
He was strong, so I had to fight back. At least I wasn't picking on the weaker ones. Stop it! More fighting is not the solution.
It's too late. You already melted our home once, and most of the world too. How do you think the Firelands ended up burned and destroyed?
I did that?
Yes, you are the Fire WITHERSTORM. You are the true evil in this world.
Please, I'm going to be nicer. You don't have to do this. He wouldn't listen. I had no other choice. I defeated him with a blue wither skull attack. The other ice creatures ran away. I'm sorry. On days 67 to 70, I caught up with some of the other ice mobs that had gone to the crop field. At least they are safe. I saw some ruins in the distance and went to check them out. With the destroyer, I started to dig into the earth until I came upon a vault made of bedrock. Even the destroyer couldn't get through this, probably because of enchantments. I dug around more and found an entrance, but it was guarded. Somehow, this guardian seemed familiar.
I was wondering when you'd show up.
Who are you? And why do I feel like I know you? That's when I received another memory of the past. I saw myself as a fire witherstorm raging across the land. I saw everything on both sides of the river get turned to ash and lava. By my side the whole time was my loyal pack of Cerberus mobs and their leader, Tartarus. The same Tartarus that was standing in front of me, guarding the entrance to the vault. Tartarus?
You remember now?
I don't understand. Why are you guarding the vault, buddy? My true form is inside of there, and I need it to defeat Ice Meister.
The only thing you need is to return home and give up on this quest for the legendary block.
I can't do that. People have gotten hurt because of this war.
People have gotten hurt because of you too. I'm here to stop you from becoming your worst self again.
Even if that means Ice Meister becomes my worst self instead?
Yes, even if that happens.
Then I'm sorry for what I have to do. As Tartarus and I began to fight, all of his special attacks started to come back to me. I avoided his breath weapon and his breaking claw strikes. I pelted him with wither skulls until we clashed head to head. You were really strong, old friend. Sorry again. I drew the destroyer and swung it at him, but he dodged and ran away. Rather than chase after him, I checked the vault for my sealed form. On days 71 to 74, I entered the room that had haunted my dreams. This was definitely where the block that held my true form had been. I said had been because it wasn't there now. Someone had taken it. I felt its call again from far away and realized immediately what had happened. Tartarus must have been keeping the block in his own inventory. He was really determined to keep me from returning to my full self. He's probably on his way to Ice Meister right now to hide the block again. I didn't want to have to fight Tartarus again, but if he was with Ice Meister, the two of them would be unbeatable at my current level. Dejected, I left the empty vault behind. On days 75 to 78, I asked the Froststalkers I had recruited during the Ice Mob attack what they eat. Like Reginald, the Froststalkers ate fish too, so I used the destroyer to make the pond bigger. All of them will have enough to eat now.
You've really made this place feel like home for me. Have this. I think it'll help.
Reginald gave me a book with an enchantment that could make me take no extra damage from water. Thanks, Reg. This will come in handy next time I cross the river.
You're welcome, pal.
Well, aren't we awfully buddy-buddy?
Oh no, Tartarus!
Seems like you have a new best friend. I should have known you'd leave me behind.
Tartarus, where is my true form?
Doesn't matter. You're not yourself anymore. I'm going to end this bitter memory, once and for all.
He lunged forward. I drew the destroyer. Run, Reginald!
Be careful, Zozo.
The second battle between me and Tartarus began. I could still sense his moves, but he was fighting like I'd never seen him fight before. It took everything I had to keep on fighting until I struck him down at last.
That was a good hit. You weren't totally different after all.
Tartarus, why?
Listen closely, because I only have time to say this once. I brought Ice Meister the legendary block, and he probably still has it.
That means I can get it back from him.
Yes, but pay attention. That sealed block has had its destructive energy reversed through enchantments. That's why all the plants grew so beautifully in that field above. They are all going to wilt away if you don't put it back.
But what about me? My power?
Looks like you'll have to make a difficult decision. I wish you luck.
Tartarus! Tartarus!
Hey, I'll still be there for you. Just absorb me, and I can help.
Okay, I absorbed Tartarus and grew even larger. I was close to a full-size WITHERSTORM now. I had 60 hearts and diamond-level durability. Thanks, buddy. I'll never forget my oldest friend. On days 79 to 84, I crossed the river without the bridge because I was too big to get swept up in the current. I took the forest route, saying hello to my friends the Froststalkers along the way. Hello. Oh, hey there. The voice came out of a nearby tree, or should I say, treant. Whoa, I didn't see you there. Didn't mean to sneak up on ya. I'm the gardener of the field, and I've come to give this Ice Meister fella a stern how do you do. How do you do? Doing quite well, thank you. Yourself? I'm actually looking for Ice Meister too. Believe it or not, we might be after the same item. You mean the legendary power source that nourishes our crops? Yep, I used to want to have it for a different reason, but I've decided it belongs in that vault where it can help people. I like your thinking. You're not as mean and evil and scary as you look. Thanks, I guess. I traveled together with the gardener until we saw a formidable fortress of snow and ice on the horizon. I suppose that must be Ice Meister's place. I would keep walking, but I'm pretty tired. You could say I'm bushed. Same, and I have a feeling that he's not going to make this easy for us to get the block back. How about we return to my base for now and discuss strategy? I like where your head's at, all three of them. On days 85 to 89, I told the gardener of the field everything about my journey so far, including how I used to be a bad guy when I was the ruler of the Firelands and how I was trying to stop the war. Sounds to me like you've seen and done a lot of things since you first spawned into this world so long ago. Changing into a better person from who you were in the past isn't easy, but that's what growing up is all about. If only I could make Ice Meister understand that. I don't think he'll ever forgive me, and that makes me sad. Well, to be honest with you, Ice Meister and you might never be friends, but there's a lesson in that. You are a being of pure destruction who brings fire down upon the world, while Ice Meister creates snowy landscapes and gives a sense of urgency to all the creatures he meets. You two are polar opposites, and this world needs both of you. Okay, I sorta understand, but how do I stop him from creating war? I just want the mobs to live in peace. I'll let you in on a little secret, Zozo. I was the one who enchanted that block. Wait, you helped seal my powers? Yes, and look how it turned out. Don't you feel free now? I do, actually. Well, there is your answer. Together, we will free Ice Meister from his ambitions, and the war will come to an end. I'll enchant the new sealing block, but you'll need to gather the raw materials. Done. On days 90 to 94, I searched high and low for as many emeralds as I could find. After that, I traveled to every village on both sides of the river that would let me in. Sorry, I know I'm scary. Little by little, news spread across the land that I only wanted to trade emeralds for bottles of enchanting. They started treating me like a regular guy, which I really appreciated, even though I was too big to get inside the villages. Throughout my travels, I gathered a whole bunch of bottles of enchantment and returned to the gardener. These will do. Give me a few days and I'll have the seal ready. Awesome! With some of the leftover enchantment bottles, I decided to give myself the fire aspect enchantment. It worked! My wither skulls had turned red and could now catch any enemy that they hit on fire. On days 95 to 97, I completed the statue.
It had been a statue of TARDIS all along. I didn't even know that when I started building it, but I guess there are some things you never forget, no matter how much you change. My oldest and most loyal friend would now be remembered as a beautiful statue for all to see, and every time I saw the statue, I would remember him.
You've done all right, Zozo. Thank you for remembering me.
Tartarus?
Yep, it's me.
I heard his voice inside of my head. Okay, this is kinda really weird.
Don't worry, I won't be doing this all the time. Just wanted to tell you that I'm proud you chose to put the legendary block back where it truly belongs.
Well, some things are more important than getting back something you lost, or even being the most powerful fire WITHERSTORM in the world.
You'll always be number one in my book.
Thanks, TARDIS. On day 98, I told the villagers that they could all go home if they wanted to, because very soon, there wouldn't be a war on either side of the river.
But this is our home.
Oh, right, I guess you fire guys can stay. What about you, Icemen?
We're not sure. There were so many great memories in this place. I don't know if we want to leave yet.
Oh, stay as long as you like.
Well, I'm definitely staying.
Of course, Reginald. I wouldn't have it any other way.
You're gonna go fight Ice Master soon, aren't you?
Yeah, buddy. It sure seems that way.
Do your best, okay? And come back safe. This base is not a home without you.
Of course I'll be back. Shortly after that, the gardener walked in with the new enchanted block we'd be using to seal Ice Meister's evil side.
Zozo, my boy, it is time. The sealing block is complete. We're going right now to the fortress of Ice Meister.
All right, let's go. I said my goodbyes to everyone at the base. This adventure is almost at the most exciting part, so soon I'll be saying goodbye to you too. But don't worry, we'll have lots of other adventures together. Subscribe to the channel and go watch some of my other ones after this. There are so many to enjoy, like the time I spent 100 days as a lava wither. On day 99, the gardener and I returned to the fortress of Ice Meister and found that it wasn't guarded at all. Where is everyone?
It looks like you've brought peace to this land after all, Zozo. Must have been all that traveling and trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, and most of all, he has no other mobs to fight for him. This is our chance! I blasted my way in and realized that I wasn't completely correct. There were traps everywhere that shot ice and snow at me and the gardener.
Oh, help! I'm not an evergreen tree. These cold temperatures are going to make my leaves fall off.
Just stay close to me. I'll keep you warm. A trapdoor opened up beneath us.
No, this is it!
No way! I jumped over the spikes and landed safely on the other side. Then I used my tractor beam to catch the gardener and grapple him to safety.
Thanks, you're using your fire WITHERSTORM powers for good. Never thought I'd see the day.
You're right, I don't have to be a bad guy, even though I'm fiery and scary. I can help people just the way I am.
Now you know, let's go get your true form back.
You mean you're letting me have the other block?
Sure, the field only needs one at a time, and you've had your turn. Now it's Ice Meister's turn.
I can't believe I'm going to be returning to my true form after all. This is so exciting! On day 100, the gardener and I came face to face with Ice Meister. He was holding the block that contained my true form. It's over, Ice Meister. Give back what you stole and we'll make this easy.
Easy? You think there's an easy way out of this? I don't think so. You're a fire WITHERSTORM, and you're bad to the bone. Your path of destruction won't stop as long as you still exist.
No, it stops now. I'm good, and I can prove it to you.
Zozo is telling the truth, Ice Meister. Why don't you call it quits? Our plants need that block.
You mean this block?
Ice Meister held up the block with my true form inside and absorbed it, becoming a terrifying new version of himself. As if that weren't bad enough, Ice Meister also spawned a bunch of other snowmen to attack us.
Seize them, little ones!
The gardener looked at me and held up the new enchanted block.
I'll fire the sealing spell up. You keep him and his minions busy.
You got it. I unleashed all my powers on the miniature snowmen. I made sure to clear all of them out first before facing off against Ice Meister.
You'll never defeat me, Zozo.
I already have. You thought absorbing that power you took from me would help you win, but destructive power like that should only be used responsibly.
And what would you know about that?
More than you'd think. We all get to decide who we are, and I've decided that this is my true form. As soon as I said that, I instantly grew back to full size. I had 180 hearts. Now the playing field was even. While the Ice Meister was distracted, the gardener finished charging his spell.
Zozo, now, move!
I dodged out of the way as a beam shot forth from the block. In an instant, it absorbed Ice Meister's evil form and left behind only a tiny snowball.
I'll get you for this!
Okay, but take your time. Maybe you could be the good guy this time. With the seal set in place, the gardener was able to save the crops at his field. Meanwhile, I went back to my base in the Firelands. It was peaceful for now, and I hoped that would last. Either way, it was a good day to be myself. On day 1, I spawned into the frozen lakes as an ice witherstorm! Whoa, even as a baby ice witherstorm, I'm pretty awesome! And thank goodness, because I don't feel cold out here either! But my celebrations were interrupted when I heard the flapping of mighty wings coming towards me. I looked up and saw a huge ice dragon floating in the air above me.
You!
Me?
Don't be funny with me, boyo. What's your name?
I'm Zozo, mister.
I'm Ivan the Ice Dragon, and that means ice is my thing. You think you can steal my thing, you wee little witherstorm? I'll teach you what it means to be truly ice cold.
Ivan fired a huge ice blast down towards me. It nearly hit me, but I was lucky enough to dodge at the last second. Hey, you almost hit me.
Yeah, that's what we in the business call a warning shot, dummy. The next one will come when you least expect it. You want to keep the icy cred? You've got 100 days to earn it, or frostbite is gonna be the least of your worries.
He unleashed an even more powerful ice blast, and this time I just had to run for my life. Gotta beat Ivan, or he's gonna freeze me to my doom. On day 2, I wandered further across the frozen lakes. In weather this freezing, even I started to feel the cold. This is so embarrassing for an ice witherstorm. Maybe I just need some food. I only have 10 hearts. It's important to keep my hunger bar filled up. I searched across the frozen lakes until I finally found an apple tree. It's not easy to grow food in a place this cold, so I needed to enjoy everything I could get. I broke down the tree and ate some of the apples, solving the hunger situation. But it didn't solve the situation of a dread thrall charging out of the distance.
Huh, enjoy those apples, you little baby. That's such a baby thing to do. Eat apples.
Is it? I'm not sure I follow your logic here.
It makes sense when you're a dread thrall, okay? It's like a cultural thing. Anyways, let's fight. Ivan told me that a witherstorm was trying to jack his style. I owe it to him to put you down.
The dread thrall ran at me and unleashed some powerful attacks. I wasn't strong enough to fight him yet, so all I could do was break away from the fight and run for my life. I got out of there as fast as I could, but as I cowered behind a pile of snow, I heard something approaching. I was terrified, worried that it could be the dread thrall. Instead, a cyclops stepped out.
Come with me if you want to live.
How could I deny an offer like that? On day 3, the cyclops led me across a safe part of the frozen lakes, telling me to keep as quiet as possible.
You need to keep a low profile around here if you want to last. Ivan's dread thralls are all over the place.
Where are you taking me?
Shh, somewhere safe. That's all you need to know.
I kept quiet as the cyclops led me. Then he suddenly stopped.
This is as far as I'll go. It's too dangerous for us all to be in one place. Go forward 50 paces and you'll see a dodo hippogriff at a campfire. Speak to him and then come back to me when you're done.
Okay, understood. I followed the Cyclops' instructions until, predictably, I found myself at the campfire where the dodo hippogriff was waiting.
He sent you. Good. You follow orders. You might have a better chance of surviving than the last one.
Wait, what do you mean, the last one?
You think you're the first ice witherstorm to spawn here? There have been many, and Ivan has destroyed them all out of his evil jealousy.
But if he's after ice witherstorms, why are you and that Cyclops guy so afraid of him and his goons?
Your people have the worst of it, but Ivan is a nightmare for all of us. Anyone who bruises his ego gets destroyed. We want him gone, and with our powers combined, we can make it happen.
What do I need to do?
Go with Cyclops. Train. Get stronger. If he finds you this threatening now, imagine what you can do when you reach full power.
From day 4 to day 5, I carried out the dodo hippogriff's wishes and left with the Cyclops. I knew that if I was going to survive this, I needed to put a roof over both of our heads. Sit tight, Cyclops. I'm gonna make us some tools and get started. I knocked down a tree with my Witherstorm strength and made the pieces into a wooden pickaxe. From there, I mined into the ground and collected some stone. I had to be careful where I mined and built because some areas were just a thin layer of ice over water. When I had enough stone, I built myself a stone pickaxe and a stone sword. With my spare stone, I started building a basic 2-room base to protect myself and Cyclops from the elements.
This is a good start, Zozo. Solid, but low-key.
This won't attract any undue attention.
Thank you, I think. But it may not have been that low-key. All that building had attracted a dangerous dirt scorpion a long way away from home. As it attacked, this time I fought back until the dirt scorpion was defeated. This gave me the XP to level up, getting 30 hearts and a new power, Ice Blast. Now I can finally start living up to my Ice WITHERSTORM name. From day 6 to day 8, I left the Cyclops back at the base while I went out to explore a nearby frosty mountain range called the Alps. Wow, the air is very thin up here. I probably wouldn't make a habit of hanging out up here. But my thoughts were interrupted by an adorable orange and white kitty running up towards me.
Please, stranger, I need some help. There's something terrible happening back there.
Calm down, calm down. What's going on here, kitty?
A dread scuttler. It's horrible, and it was chasing after me. I was so scared.
Don't worry, kitty. You just hang back here, and I'll go take care of it.
Thank you, stranger. Thank you.
Please, call me Zozo. I braced myself and went off in the direction that the kitty came from. It didn't take me long to find the dread scuttler, and with the help of my ice blast and my stone sword, it didn't take long for me to beat it either. Afterwards, the kitty approached me, happy that I'd taken care of the nasty dread scuttler.
Zozo, that was amazing. You're the best.
Please, it was nothing.
Well, if it was so easy, maybe you'll help me take care of a dreadlich not far from here. He's been causing a lot of trouble.
Sure, I'll always do my best. From day 9 to day 10, I followed Kitty's instructions and went further into the Alps. That's where I found the dreadlich waiting.
So, you're the one who destroyed my dread scuttler. Do you have any idea how hard those are to summon? I'll make you pay for this, you wretched little ice WITHERSTORM.
Talk is cheap, dreadlich. Let's duke it out. But it didn't take me long to regret being so gung-ho. The dreadlich was way tougher than I thought. He tanked my attacks and returned with some magical attacks of his own. My only option was to run away and survive to fight another day. I met with Kitty again and told her the bad news.
Don't beat yourself up, Zozo. You tried your best, and you did an amazing job getting rid of the dread scuttler.
And I'm gonna take care of the dreadlich too, but I need to get stronger first. Why don't you come and stay at my base in the frozen lakes? It'll probably be safer there.
That's a very generous offer, Zozo, and I think I'll take you up on it.
From day 11 to day 12, I returned to my base with Kitty and quickly set about building a new room in my base for her to stay. I made sure it was the kind of room that'd be really cozy for a cute little kitty. What do you think, Kitty?
I think you did an amazing job, Zozo. So amazing, in fact, that I made a few base upgrades of my own to repay you.
And Kitty certainly had made some awesome upgrades. She'd created a sheep farm full of, yep, you guessed it, sheep. She'd also created a furnace and a storage room. Are you implying I should go and forge myself some new weapons, Kitty?
Nothing gets past you, Zozo.
I searched until I found a decent cavern for mining, and searched until I found a healthy vein of iron ore. I dug up the ore and took it back to my base with me. There, I used the furnace Kitty built to smelt my ore into iron ingots. And with those and some sticks, I made myself an iron pickaxe and an iron sword. Now I'm stronger than ever before. That's what I'm talking about. From day 13 to day 15, I spoke to the Cyclops again, asking if he had any advice on how to get strong enough to defeat Ivan the Ice Dragon.
Well, what have you fought so far?
I've fought a lot of things.
Fought and beat, I mean.
Oh, a dirt scorpion and a dread scuttler.
You're gonna need to fight stronger things than big bugs if you want to really level up, Zozo. Go back to the Alps and find something worth defeating there. Only true challenge will help you grow your skills.
Great advice, Cyclops. Following his advice, I went back to the Alps. Even making my way up there was exhausting. This was going to be more challenging than I thought.
Hey, if it isn't the big, goofy, apple-eating baby. I knew I'd find you eventually, and now you're doomed.
It was the same dread thrall who'd hassled me earlier, but this time I wasn't going to talk to him. I was going to fight him, and I was going to win. With a combination of ice blasts and lethal strikes from my iron sword, the dread thrall was vanquished, and I picked up a healing potion he dropped. Once I'd swigged it down, I started to transform. I got bigger, stronger. I had 60 hearts and a new ability, shooting with a wither skull. Half ice, half WITHERSTORM. My power is really coming along. From day 16 to day 19, I went from the mountains of the Alps to the even higher frozen peaks. If getting challenged makes you tougher, I'm gonna be as tough as one of these mountains soon. During my journey, I happened upon a book laying on the ground. Its title read, Dread Thrall's Diary. Well, this seems like essential reading. There was a section that read, "Ivan's been such a drag since that ice witherstorm turned up. He's so paranoid and stuck in his own head. He started staying in that base in the eroded Badlands. What kind of ice dragon hangs out in the Badlands? It's way too hot there. He's staying in the eroded Badlands? That's really useful information." I looked up and saw another dread thrall standing a few feet from me.
Hey, that's my diary, you jerk! Oh!
Before he said another word, I blasted the dread thrall with a powerful wither skull, and he was no more. From day 20 to day 22, while heading back from the frozen peaks, I wiped out a small but vicious gang of coyotes. It feels good to be so powerful. I think I've earned myself a treat. I returned to my favorite mining cavern and collected a few extra chunks of iron ore. Then I returned to my base and used the furnace to smelt them into iron ingots. From that, I built myself an iron chestplate and equipped it. You probably can't see it in all my Witherstorm swirls, but it feels good to know it's there. With my new power and new armor, I felt the confidence to go back and settle an old score. I returned to the Alps, where I saw the Dreadlich waiting.
Ready for me to hand you your Ice Witherstorm Heiny, eh, Zozo?
I'd like to see you try, Dreadlich. This time, it was a much more even fight. With my Wither Skulls and Ice Blast, this time I put him down for good. Kitty is gonna be so pleased when I tell her. Suddenly, a chill went down my already chilly Ice Witherstorm spine. I heard the great flapping of wings in the sky above and saw Ivan the Ice Dragon coming towards me.
Oh, there you are, you little plagiarist! You lazy copycat! I'm gonna be the only ice being out here!
As strong as I'd gotten, I still wasn't tough enough to take on Ivan yet. I did the only thing I could and ran. From day 23 to day 26, I made it safely back to my base and rushed to tell Kitty the good news. Hey Kitty, remember that Dreadlich you were having trouble with?
You mean the one you were having trouble with, Zozo?
Well, those troubles are over. I defeated him.
Perfect! Nicely done, Zozo!
I didn't want to rest on my victory for too long. After all, I had only just narrowly escaped from Ivan. I still needed to get much stronger if I was going to take him down for good. I decided to venture back to the mines and have another shot at gathering up some more iron ore. Luckily for me, there was plenty to be found in another vein underground, and I hacked away with my pickaxe. Once I had gathered up enough ore, I smelted it into some shiny new iron ingots. I had plenty to smith myself an iron helmet and sturdy pair of iron boots to match my chest piece. Now, I was fully protected.
Zozo, come have a look!
What's new, kitty cat? Whoa! Kitty had been working on an upgrade to my base as a way of saying thank you for helping her out. She'd built a brand new perimeter wall to keep danger at bay. Now I wasn't the only one with added protection. My base and my friends were too. From day 27 to day 31, I headed back to the frozen peaks. Now that a few of the dread thralls and that pesky Dreadlich were taken care of, it was a bit safer for me to explore the area. Although, I had my guard up when I spotted a mighty behemoth. But was he a friend or foe?
Relax, little Ice Witherstorm. Take a chill pill.
Sorry, I can't be too careful with Ivan and his dread horde around.
Oh, that buzzkill. Yeah, I can imagine he would have given an icicle like you a really icy reception.
Are you gonna keep making jokes like that all day?
Sorry, man. I'm just feeling pretty good since you took out all those dread thralls. It's made things around here way cooler. But you know there's still plenty of Ivan's minions around, right?
You're right, and it's not safe for you here, Behemoth. Head back to my base with me.
Sweet! You're a pretty chilled guy, Zozo.
I made my way back to the base with the behemoth. Once we had returned, I was able to grab some wool from the flock of sheep in the pen and use that wool to make some nice decorative banners that really livened the place up. Once the decorating work was done, the Cyclops ran over in a panic.
Zozo, come quickly. I need your help. There's another challenge that might help build your strengths.
Then lead the way. From day 32 to day 35, my Cyclops friend and mentor took me towards the frozen lakes, where we came across a sight that even made my Ice Witherstorm self shiver. A swarm of Ivan the Ice Dragon's dread thralls were chasing after Dodo the Hippogriff.
Zozo, help! It's Ivan. He's found me. He's on to us.
I leapt into battle, swinging my iron sword to chop down some of the dread thralls. I let off an ice blast, then another attack, my wither skull blast. I was desperately trying to clear a path to reach the Dodo Hippogriff, but there were just too many dread thralls in the way. No! The dread thralls destroyed the Dodo Hippogriff. I slashed my sword at them, taking down each and every one of them, until not a single thrall was left standing. But I was still too late. From day 36 to day 39, I decided to wander off on my own for a little while. I needed to clear my head and be alone with my thoughts. I hadn't known the Dodo Hippogriff all that long, but I was still sad I couldn't save him. He'd had a lot of faith in me being able to take on Ivan, so I figured maybe my sadness was a reminder that I couldn't take his wisdom for granted. I had to make sure I lived up to the Dodo Hippogriff's expectations. On my travels, I encountered a cactoid in the Alps.
Oh, my. Will you please help me? I'm being pursued by a beastly creature.
Sure thing. Just point me at the nasty critter, and it's as good as gone. The cactoid led me to the creature that had been coming after him, a horrible hellhound. I grabbed my sword and readied for a fight. After all, the Dodo Hippogriff had told me the path to victory was getting stronger, and any battle was a chance to improve. I took down the hellhound with little effort and went back to the cactoid to tell him the good news.
Oh my, thank you, kind, chilly stranger. I've seen Ivan's minions on the move more and more lately. His ego must have been pricked something fierce.
Yeah, that dragon really is vain. He took out one of my friends just to get at me.
Well, he wants to be the only ice creature around. I imagine he feels threatened by you. Take it from a guy covered in spines. Some people only act tough on the outside to protect themselves on the inside.
From day 40 to day 43, I decided it was time to rejoin my friends back at the base. The Cyclops and I had parted briefly after we lost the Dodo Hippogriff, but I thought about what he'd said before. Only with our powers combined could we take down Ivan.
Hey there, Zozo. Glad to see you're back. Don't worry, I've been keeping an eye out while you were gone.
Thanks, Cyclops. Say, this place looks a little different.
Well, I wasn't gonna just sit around on my hands. Have a look around.
The Cyclops had worked really hard at making the base more homely, just the thing I needed to lift my spirits after losing the Dodo Hippogriff. He'd built plenty of new bookshelves and even a few comfy couches. You know, Cyclops, it's not like we can sit on more than one of these couches at a time.
About that, Zozo, I was wondering if I could invite some guests. There are more Cyclopses like me who have had it up to their eye with Ivan. Would you mind if they came to stay?
Not at all. The more, the merrier. After the other Cyclopses came in and found their places, the behemoth came over to talk to me.
Say, Zozo, when you've got a moment, I also have a favor to ask you.
From day 44 to day 49, I set off from my base to carry out a quest that my friend the behemoth had given me. He said that there was a silver lobo hiding somewhere in the frozen peaks, and that he had some useful info that would help me taking down Ivan, if I could take him down, that is. But while I was beginning my search, I heard the flap of 2 icy wings and had to leap out of the way as Ivan arrived, swooping in for an ambush.
There you are! I thought you would have given up after my dread thralls killed your poor friend, the Dodo Hippogriff. You know, he'd still be alive if you had just turned yourself over and let me destroy you, little WITHERSTORM.
What's your problem, Ivan? You're really going out of your way to try and stop me from getting stronger. Seems like you might be a little insecure.
You're a pest, nothing more than a chilly breeze. I'm an ice dragon. I should be the master of the freezing cold. I'll unleash a whole new ice age on this world, an endless deep freeze. But as long as you're around, you're in my way. So let's see if we can't fix that little problem.
Suddenly, a monstrous reaver burst out of nowhere and came charging towards me. Ivan had already flapped away, leaving his minion to take me on. This creature might be my toughest fight yet. From day 50 to day 53, I got to fighting the Reaver. This thing was one of the most powerful mobs I'd ever seen. It was all brute strength and rage. I deflected its blows with my iron sword, the occasional hit knocking into my armor and causing me a little damage. I'd need to keep my cool if I was going to defeat this monster. Wait, that's it! I blasted the Reaver with my Ice Blast. While the icy attack didn't freeze it completely, it did slow down the beast's attacks. I could dodge out of the way of its fist a lot easier now and got around behind it to deliver the final strike with my sword. The Reaver fell. I had not only survived, but I'd beaten the creature too. But my trusty iron sword was looking a little worse for wear now. Although, much to my surprise, the Reaver dropped something that could come in real handy later on, some mystical diamonds. I'll stash these in my inventory for now, but they could make me a great replacement for my sword. As soon as I touched them, I was granted a magical vision by the mystical diamonds. They showed me a little dragon, just newly hatched. It was Ivan, as a baby. He was scared and all alone, left abandoned on the top of a frozen peak. So that's why he was such a bully. He'd felt so helpless, and now he wanted to be the strongest around to avoid that feeling, even if it meant being mean to others.
From day 54 to day 57, I continued my search through the frozen peaks until I finally came upon the creature I'd been searching for, the Silver Lobo. This thing was nasty. I didn't even have a chance to negotiate or come up with a peaceful solution. It just lunged straight for me. Lucky for me, I had already tangled with a Reaver and survived, not to mention all the dread thralls I'd taken down. So with a few blasts of Wither Skulls, the battle was over as quick as it began. And then I saw the thing that was so handy that the behemoth had sent me here in the first place. The Silver Lobo dropped a map. It had been tasked with guarding a location that obviously Ivan didn't want me getting to, so I grabbed the map and made the trek back to my base. I needed to speak with the behemoth.
Hey there, Zozo. It sure is cool to see you back in one piece.
Say, behemoth, why send me after this map?
Well, I figured you should go to where it leads and find out for yourself.
Will I find out why Ivan wants to stop me from getting stronger?
Oh, I can tell you that. He doesn't like being the weak one, and you intimidate him. An ice dragon like him can harness the frost and the freeze, but you're cooler than cool. You're ice cold. Ice withers are made of pure frozen magic. He only wants to hold you back because he knows you could outmatch him.
From day 58 to day 62, I decided to do some more work on my base now that I was back for a while. I upgraded our sheep pen, making it more spacious for the flock so they could roam around a bit easier. Then, I took a look at the map I had gotten from the Silver Lobo and started to follow it to see what all the fuss was about. It only led to a mine filled with diamonds. No wonder Ivan didn't want me finding out about this place. I got to work mining as many diamonds as I could carry and raced back to my base so I could turn them into useful items. Before long, I had a brand new diamond sword to replace my worn out old iron one, along with a new diamond pickaxe to make mining a breeze. Then, just as I was finished, my Cyclops friend came up to talk to me.
Zozo, I noticed some of my fellow Cyclopses were a little bit chilly, so I made a brand new fireplace with them. Hope that's okay.
Sure, even though the cold never bothered me anyway, I'm glad you guys can keep warm. The Cyclops and his new pals had even built a whole new comfy living area for everyone to show their appreciation for being allowed to stay in the base. I had to admit, I was pretty impressed with what they'd done with the place. From day 63 to day 66, I decided to ask around my base for some advice. I knew I still wasn't tough enough to go head-to-head with Ivan yet, but I had to do something to get back at him. And besides, the Dodo Hippogriff had made me realize that teamwork was the best way to putting a stop to Ivan's plans. Eventually, the best advice came from Kitty.
You know from that Dread Thrall's diary that Ivan has a base in the eroded Badlands, right? Well, why not go and scout the place out? You don't have to go in or try and face him. Just take a look from the outside to see what it looks like and how to get there.
Good idea! A recon mission! Thanks, Kitty!
No problem, Zozo.
I made my way to the eroded Badlands, making sure I kept to the shade as often as I could, since the Badlands were so much hotter than the frozen lakes. Even though ice witherstorms like me were pure enchanted ice, I didn't want to run the risk of melting. I was able to get a good look at Ivan's base. It was well guarded by plenty of his minions. The place was crawling with dread thralls. Getting inside was going to be tricky unless I got a lot stronger. Suddenly, I caught the sound of someone sneaking up on me. It was a siren. Oh no, I thought. One of Ivan's perimeter guards had found me. But to my surprise, she wasn't with Ivan at all.
You're an Ice Witherstorm. Then the rumors were true. Come with me. There is something I need your assistance with.
From day 67 to day 70, I followed the siren as she explained what the problem was.
One of Ivan's dread beasts drove me out of my home not far from here. It's an incredibly territorial creature, and I can't convince it to leave. I need someone to, well, not to be indelicate, but someone that can remove it.
No problem, Miss Siren. I'll handle it. Sure enough, there in a clearing sat the vicious dread beast. It immediately sensed the presence of an ice witherstorm in its territory, and I got ready for a fight. After all, I'd been looking for a chance to test out my new diamond sword. The snarling dread beast was quick, but only a little bit harder to defeat than one of the dread thralls. I swung my sword at the monster, and it fell, bested in combat, and now the siren's home was free from the nasty intruder.
Oh, thank you, Zozo. I wish I could offer you more than just my gratitude, but know that should you ever need a helping hand, I will come to your aid.
Wow, thanks, Miss Siren.
From day 71 to day 74, I ventured out across the eroded Badlands, trying to get a better feel for the area and see if I could come across any hidden passageways or other areas that could offer me some secret way into Ivan's lair. I just needed to find something to give myself an advantage, and if I could get a drop on that egotistical ice dragon, maybe that would help me defeat him. I didn't find much in the way of secret tunnels, although I did pass a strange rock formation. When I looked at it from a certain angle, it almost seemed to spell out a word. If you're enjoying this video and want to see more, then find our other ones by searching Zozo or clicking the channel icon below. Suddenly, I heard a familiar flapping of some fearsome wings. Ivan! I must have wandered close enough to his base for one of his dread thralls to spot me.
You never should have come here, Zozo. I'll teach you to trespass.
Ivan fired his icy attacks at me. Under the sun of the Badlands, he was weakened. Either that, or because I was stronger now, I could take more of what he could dish out. Feeling confident, I swiped my diamond sword at him as he swooped down low, but it wasn't enough to cause any lasting damage. I still wasn't strong enough, so I dodged out of the path of Ivan's next ice blast and took cover until he flew off, frustrated he couldn't find me. He wasn't the only one feeling frustrated though. From day 75 to day 78, I headed back to base and went to sit quietly in my room. I was annoyed that I still couldn't beat Ivan in a fight. I knew all about him now, how he had become the meanest, toughest around, so nobody else could harm him, but he still needed taking down. And if I couldn't even manage to do that, then no one else had any hope of stopping him. I wasn't strong enough, and that made me feel like I'd let down the poor dodo hippogriff.
Hey, Zozo, don't feel so disheartened. Come and check out the base. We've made some improvements that are they're good.
It's okay, Behemoth. You can make a nice joke.
They're pretty cool. That's what they are. Here, I'll show you.
The Behemoth showed me around the base, eager for me to see the new battlements he and the others had been working hard to install. There was now a brand new watchtower, offering a great vantage point to spot Ivan or any of his minions coming if they ever tried to attack our base. I had to admit, even in my low mood, it helped to lift my spirits a little, but not as much as what came next.
Zozo, my Cyclops brethren and I have been talking, and I've been thinking about what the Dodo Hippogriff said to you about combining our powers. This battle axe is a sacred item to us, and, well, we think you should have it.
I was honored. I took hold of the Cyclops battle axe and hoisted it high. I could feel its magic coursing through me as I suddenly grew larger. It granted me 100 hearts and even passed on some ancient wisdom to me, how to perform a special attack called a whirlwind attack. From day 79 to day 84, I was feeling pumped for a rematch with Ivan the Ice Dragon, so I made my way back toward the Badlands to take him on with my increased strength and the Cyclops power at my side. Much to my disappointment, Ivan was nowhere to be seen, probably hiding back in the safety of his base. I did come across a fire ogre though. This was one mob I really didn't want to let get the better of me. His burning blasts of flame could have melted me. But luckily, a huge gust of wind from my whirlwind attack and some ice blasts for good measure quickly snuffed out the fire ogre for good. But before I could celebrate, I got quite the fright when a ghost appeared behind me. Hey, don't sneak up on me like that.
My apologies. I've been wandering these Badlands for longer than I could remember, just looking for where I fell in my last life.
Well, I'm sure I could help you look. The ghost and I searched around for a while, and he seemed to be pretty grateful just to have someone to talk to after being on his own for so long. After a little digging, we came across a shiny diamond helmet.
You found my helmet. This must have been where my body was. Thank you, Zozo. Now I can rest. Here, take my helmet. I'd rather it went to someone worthy like you.
This was perfect. Some added protection from attacks would give me an edge against Ivan. From day 85 to day 89, I headed back to my base, only to find a terrifying sight waiting for me, dread thralls! They were attacking my base. I jumped into action and drew my sword. I let out a blast of my whirlwind attack, sending dread thralls toppling over and flinging them into the air. I cut down 2 with my diamond sword, then froze another with an ice blast. A heavy strike with my sword, and he was gone.
Ah, jeez. They promised that Ice WITHERSTORM was just a big, goofy, apple-eating baby. That's no baby. Let's get the heck out of here.
With that, the remaining dread thralls ran off, and I rushed after them. I had to make sure they didn't make it back to Ivan. If they led him to where my base was located, he could destroy all of my friends. I wasn't about to let that happen.
I chased the dread thralls across the frozen lakes until they were pretty far from my base. I almost lost track of them, but thankfully, I passed a pink pixie who pointed me in their direction.
Hurry, Zozo! Those horrid brutes are tearing through the lakes, causing chaos! Please, give them what for!
From day 90 to day 94, I caught up with the dread thralls. They'd ran all the way back to the eroded Badlands. If I didn't act quickly, they'd reveal the location of my friends to Ivan, then he'd attack. They were approaching Ivan's base when suddenly the thralls stopped. A hideous creature came out to meet them. It was a Gorgon.
What news for Master Ivan?
We found where the big goofy apple-eating baby was hiding, but he wasn't no goofy apple-eating baby. He's a powerful ice WITHERSTORM.
Silence! Lower your voice. Don't let our master hear. I will break the news to him. First, tell me where I can find this troublesome ice WITHERSTORM.
After the dread thralls left, I ran in to take on the Gorgon alone. I'm right here. The Gorgon gave an angry hiss as I jumped out from my hiding spot and cut down one of the thralls. I took them out much easier than when I'd first started out, but getting rid of them was only the beginning. The Gorgon attacked. I had to use all the attacks I had learned to fend him off. This was by far my toughest fight yet. From day 95 to day 97, I continued trading blows with the Gorgon. I thought of the Dodo Hippogriff and his wise guidance, and of the Behemoth, Kitty, and the Cyclopses, and all they had done for me. I couldn't let them down.
An icicle like you can't best me. Out here in the Badlands is where a serpent like me can thrive.
Yeah? Well, if you're anything like your boss, then you're just talking a big game to hide how uncertain you are. And I never met a snake I could trust. A snake, that was it! A cold-blooded reptile. That's why the Gorgon lived out here where it was warm. If I used my frosty powers, I could make him drowsy, slow him down. So that's what I did, firing off as many ice blasts as I could, despite the scorching sunlight. It was working. The Gorgon's attacks got slower, easier to dodge, and I could slash the frozen parts of his body to chip away at his health. Soon, he had been defeated. I'd done it. I'd taken down Ivan's top henchman. The Gorgon even dropped a key that would get me into Ivan's base.
Wait, don't you want to know what happened to the others?
Others? The other ice WITHERSTORMs?
Yes, how my master destroyed them all.
With his dying breath, the Gorgon told me that Ivan, after being abandoned on a frosty peak, devoted himself to being the coldest creature around. He had hunted down other ice withers to absorb their freezing powers and make himself stronger. That was why he had been trying to get to me this whole time. I had to stop him, but I'd need to gear up before the final fight. On day 98, I made my way back to my base, hoping to prepare myself for my final showdown against Ivan. It had all been building to this, and I hoped I was ready. First, I spoke to Behemoth.
Don't worry, Zozo. I'm sure you've got what it takes to take down Ivan. You're the coolest customer I know.
Thanks for that, Behemoth. Then, Kitty.
Zozo, take care! Remember to lick your wounds, and don't fight if you've got a hairball. Trust me on that one.
I'll take your word for it, Kitty. And finally, the Cyclops.
Listen, Zozo, I can't thank you enough for giving me and my Cyclops friends a home. I think the Dodo Hippogriff would be proud of how far you've come. We combined our powers, and it made you the powerful ice WITHERSTORM you are.
I just hope that I'm ready to take on Ivan.
None of us are ever ready for challenges, Zozo. We just have to tell ourselves we are, and remember what challenges are for.
They're to make us stronger. On day 99, I made my way back toward the lair of Ivan the Ice Dragon, passing the Alps on my journey towards the eroded Badlands. When I finally reached my destination, it seemed Ivan hadn't taken the fall of his Gorgon too well. The place was crawling with dread thralls. I knew I could handle a group of them, but this was way more than I had ever seen. What I could really do with is getting help getting past these dread thralls.
But of course, you only had to ask Zozo.
Miss Siren!
My siren song can distract these thralls for a time. That should help you deal with them. You go in there and take on Ivan once and for all.
On day 100, I made my way into the heart of Ivan's lair and came face to face with the frozen dragon himself.
So, you've come to get melted, like all the other ice WITHERSTORMs.
No way, Ivan. I'm here to stop you. I understand why you feel the need to be so tough, but it doesn't excuse hurting people.
I am tough. Why do you think that me, an ice dragon, would make my home here in the eroded Badlands? Because I'm strong enough, cold enough to withstand the heat.
Let's see about that. We clashed. The fight was on. Ivan was much bigger than me and could fly, so he already had a few advantages I didn't. But I had plenty of my own. I was smaller, faster, and far stronger than when we had last fought. Like before, I kept trying to take some swings of my diamond sword whenever Ivan swooped down low and came in for an attack. This was working for a bit, but Ivan quickly realized what I was doing and began to stay, hovering in the air to evade my sword strikes. Flapping his wings to stay above me, he launched icy blasts my way, and I had to dodge as quick as I could. But that gave me an idea. Two can play that game, Ivan. I've got the power of ice, and the Cyclops is on my side. Moving quickly, I used my ice blasts. Then I stayed out of reach and fired some wither skulls his way. It worked. One more swipe of my diamond sword would finish it. Hey, Ivan, you really need to chill out. Boom! Ivan the Ice Dragon was defeated. On day 1, I spawned into the beautiful flower forest as an elemental monkey. Ooh, this is awesome! I'm out here living my best monkey life. But some people didn't want me to live my best monkey life. Or rather, some skeletons. I saw one of them coming towards me through the flowers.
Trespasser, stop in the name of the law. You shouldn't be here.
But I just spawned here. It isn't my fault. How about you just point the way out and I'll leave?
It doesn't work like that. There are spies everywhere, and if I have a reason to believe you're one of them, I'm taking you in for interrogation.
I really didn't want to be interrogated, so in sheer panic, I just turned and ran as fast as I could until I couldn't even see the scary skeleton behind me. I don't know why they're picking on me. I'm just a baby elemental monkey with 10 hearts. It's not like I could do any real damage to them. But my thoughts were interrupted when suddenly another skeleton with a bow popped out in front of me.
Stop right there, criminal! You make any sudden movements, and you'll taste the steel of my arrowheads.
Okay, what do you want me to do? I'll follow your commands if you don't hurt me.
Come with me then, and no funny stuff. My arrow finger is extremely itchy.
And so, I followed the skeleton through the flower forest, worrying about my future. On day 2, the skeleton with the bow led me towards a dark, dreary base in the middle of the flower forest. It didn't look like anything good went on in there. Maybe we can just talk this out, Mr. Skeleton?
You've already tried to run, criminal. That's why we're keeping you on a short leash. We'll talk, sure, but only when we have you behind bars. Now move it.
I was sent into the deep, dark depths of the base and locked away in a large and sinister holding cell. But I wasn't the only one in there. There was also a wandering trader.
A fellow businessman, unfairly imprisoned for merely trying to make a living in this hard, cold world. It isn't easy being a wandering trader in this world, is it, my boy?
Oh, I think you're a little confused. I'm not a wandering trader. I'm an elemental monkey who just got trapped after I spawned. My name's Zozo.
Oh, Zozo, I see. Well, either way, we're in this together, old chap. Perhaps we could start a business. $1 million idea. We'll be rich, I tell you. Rich!
I don't know if we'll ever make any money if we're still trapped in here. We need to figure out a way to escape. I wonder if I have any elemental monkey powers. I concentrated hard, and suddenly, I fired an ice blast. Okay, this has potential. I blasted ice against the wall until a section of it was frozen, and then smashed through it, freeing myself and the wandering trader.
Brilliant work, my friend. I'd go with you, but I need to go speak with my shareholders. May we meet again, Zozo?
Good luck with all your, business stuff, trader. I ran off, feeling pretty sick of the flower forest. Hopefully, there are some chiller folks elsewhere. On day 3, I went to the frozen peaks, knowing I'd probably be safe from the skeletons there. I'm freezing out here, so imagine how cold a skeleton would be. They don't even have any skin. But I wasn't just cold, I was also hungry. Because it was so cold out there, I wouldn't be able to find any yummy bananas. Instead, I was able to find some yummy winter-kissed carrots. Snow and carrots. Such a classic combination. Who doesn't enjoy eating that? Having had my fill of the carrots, I carried on exploring the frozen peaks, hoping that I could find something that would help warm me up. But instead of finding a nice warm coat or a crackling fire, I instead found a huge creature, the towering High Reaver. Oh no, are you going to attack me too?
Why would I attack you, monkey? Are you going to attack me?
No?
Then we have nothing to worry about. I am the mighty High Reaver, and these are my frozen peaks.
Oh, that's great. Do you know where I can find somewhere warm? I'm kind of freezing out here.
Yes, I believe I could take you somewhere nice and warm, but you'll need to do me some favors in exchange. Follow me, Zozo.
It was only as I followed him away that I started to wonder if I ever told him my name. From day 4 to day 5, the High Reaver took me to his base up in the frozen peaks, which was warmed by a huge roaring fireplace.
My apologies for the mess. If I knew I'd be entertaining guests, I would have cleaned up a little.
Please, no need to apologize. This place is amazing. How did you build something like this? It's huge.
It wasn't always me. Once I had workers, so many of them, and they loved working for me. I kept them all warm and happy and safe in here, until one day…
One day? What happened?
Well, some terrible, terrible people banded together and attacked my base. All my workers were either destroyed or chased away, and I was left all alone.
Oh no, that's horrible.
And that's not even the worst part. The ones who did this are still out there, walking free after they destroyed my life.
I can't let something like that stand. I'll help you get revenge on all the people who did this to you, High Reaver.
That's very kind of you, Zozo. In exchange, I will bestow upon you power and tools.
Suddenly, the High Reaver transferred some of his power to me. It was amazing. I got bigger, stronger. I now had 20 hearts in total, and a new power, the Claw Attack. After that, the High Reaver gave me a stone sword and a stone pickaxe. Thank you, High Reaver. I'm gonna go build my base somewhere a little warmer, but then I'll begin my quest for you. I went to the glowing ancient forest, where I felt more confident in my elemental powers, and started mining stone and collecting wood from trees. It didn't take me long to start building a basic base where I could at least sleep at night. After it was done, I stood back and took it all in, finally appreciating that I could have a place of my own. But my appreciation was interrupted by one of the skeletons from earlier suddenly emerging, his bow at the ready.
There you are. I knew you couldn't be trusted. I'm not giving you a second chance this time.
But before he could shoot me, I blasted him with an ice blast and then ran in, finishing him off with my claws. Nobody is pushing this elemental monkey around anymore. From day 6 to day 8, I was hanging around at my base for a while, psyching myself up for my next meeting with the High Reaver. I was excited to go on the mission, but I'd only ever fought a skeleton before, so I didn't know if I was ready. Am I gonna be strong enough to take on the people who kidnapped or destroyed all of the High Reaver's beloved workers? While I was thinking it over, I saw a familiar face, the wandering trader, walking through the glowing ancient forest. I immediately ran over to see how he was doing.
Zozo, my boy, such a delight to see you in such troubling times. I hope all of your own ventures and enterprises are going well. Business marches on.
I told you before, trader, I'm not a business guy, but what do you mean, troubling times?
Oh, you see, I travel all the way across the overworld, trading this and that, doing business and such. But lately, well, something is wrong. Missing people, destroyed villages. It's like there's a plague across the land.
There's no way this is a coincidence. It must be the same people the High Reaver told me about. I need to look into this further. I left at once, and later that day, I arrived at the High Reaver's base and told him I was ready to take on my first mission.
It's good to see that you're eager, Zozo. You'll be doing me and the world a great service. First, you must go further into the frozen peaks and annihilate the Onion Queen. I still remember all the terrible things she did. Destroy her, and we will go from there.
Yes, High Reaver, I'll do it at once. From day 9 to day 10, I made my way to the frozen peaks, climbing higher and higher as I went to take on the Onion Queen, my first big enemy. I wasn't quite sure what horrible things she'd done. The High Reaver hadn't gone into much detail about it, but maybe that was because her crimes were too terrible to even talk about. Soon after, we met face to face.
Halt! Who dares approach her regal onioness?
The Onion Queen, we meet at last.
Let me guess, a lackey for the High Reaver. Of course, how predictable.
Yeah, I'm here to take you down.
You'd be wise to reconsider your next actions. There are more layers than you could possibly understand. Otherwise, this will all end in tears.
Let's see, shall we? I leapt into the battle, using my elemental monkey ice blast and claw attacks, along with my stone sword. But I couldn't cut through all the Onion Queen's protective layers. I wasn't tough enough yet.
All I could do was flee. Suddenly, someone else came speeding in. He was some kind of sorcerer who could wield powerful rock attacks. I watched in awe as he was able to defeat the Onion Queen.
I'm glad I found you, elemental monkey.
Hey, I'm Zozo. Who are you?
I am the last of the noble geomancers, masters of the elements of Earth. Time is short. We must get you to safety and train you to harness all the elements.
Hold on, I'm not so sure about this. I think I should go and speak to the High Reaver first.
Your path is your own, Zozo. Seek me out if you find yourself lost.
From day 11 to day 12, I made my way back to the High Reaver's base. Things were just getting stranger and stranger. I wasn't sure who to side with. The High Reaver seemed like he was just a guy in need of help. But what had that old geomancer wanted to train me for?
You've done well, Zozo. With the Onion Queen no longer stinking up the place, our plans can move forward. I need you to complete another task for me.
The High Reaver sent me off to a deep cave nearby to mine for some useful resources that I could craft iron armor with. After all, I might need the added protection on my quest. There wasn't much in the way of enemies down there, but I came across some iron ore and was able to use a furnace to make iron ingots. With these ingots, I made a few iron armor pieces, as well as an iron sword and an iron pickaxe. But then, just as I was leaving the cave and venturing off, I was ambushed by some icy creepers. I tried using my ice blast on them, but quickly realized they could withstand the freezing cold. So instead, I had to resort to using my sword to shatter each of them before heading off to my next objective from the High Reaver. From day 13 to day 15, I traveled to the ancient glowing forest in search of another of the High Reaver's enemies. He'd told me to seek out an alpha's hyena, but wouldn't really explain why he needed me to take care of it. I assumed, like I had done with the Onion Queen, that this hyena had wronged the High Reaver in some way, perhaps being responsible for him losing all of his workers. But the High Reaver seemed oddly evasive about the specific details. When I spotted the alpha hyena, I'd been expecting to come across a wild, ferocious beast. But instead, it was just an ordinary animal taking care of its pack. This didn't make any sense. Why would the High Reaver want me to destroy innocent animals? The alpha hyena wasn't hurting anyone. In fact, it was just gathering food and providing for its hyena pups, taking care of its family. I couldn't go through with it. I had to get a straight answer. So instead of attacking the alpha hyena, minding its own business, I decided I'd return to the High Reaver to get my answers. From day 16 to day 19, I marched back to the High Reaver's base, full of purpose and determined to get an honest answer out of him.
That was fast. Did you take care of the alpha hyena?
No, I came back for the truth. What really happened to your workers? And why are you sending me out to defeat all of these mobs? What's really going on here?
Zozo, I have already told you all you need to know. I suggest you go and cool off somewhere, little elemental monkey.
Unsatisfied with that response, I headed back to my base deep within the ancient glowing forest. When I got there, my pal, the wandering trader, was there waiting for me.
Oh, thank goodness, Zozo, you're here. I need your help.
Why? What's going on?
It's the High Reaver. He was the one behind the plague across the land. Someone must have angered him. He's attacking a nearby village as we speak. It's just terrible for business.
The High Reaver had really been evil this whole time. He tricked me into doing his dirty work. Full of rage, I rushed to try and stop him, and sure enough, came across him ransacking some of the ancient glowing forest.
We could have worked together, Zozo. I would have trained you. A powerful elemental monkey with control over all the natural elements could have been perfect for reshaping the land in my image. But if you won't follow me, then I'll just have to tear everything down and rebuild from scratch.
I leapt in to try and fight the High Reaver, but he was much stronger than I could have anticipated. In my anger, I lost my concentration. He hit me with a powerful energy blast that sent me flying, and I hit my head so hard that I fell unconscious. From day 20 to day 22, I finally came back around. By the time I woke up, the High Reaver was gone, and the area within the ancient glowing forest had been destroyed. I swore I'd stop the High Reaver somehow. Nobody was ever going to trick this elemental monkey again.
Excuse me, I saw you trying to fight off that brute, the High Reaver. You made a valiant effort. Allow me to introduce myself. I am the Mandragora Prince, and I believe I was who the High Reaver was after. That's why he attacked this place.
Oh, how come?
Well, you see, he's on a rampage, trying to remove anyone that might be a threat to his power. The Onion Queen is already gone, although she really was the worst. But now, I fear I may be next.
Okay, Prince, you better follow me. I'll give you a place to stay for now, hopefully where the Reaver won't find you. We made our way back to my base, and I went out to chop down some trees, gathering wood to make wooden panels so I could build the Mandragora Prince his own room. It helped to take my mind off of things for a little while. From day 23 to day 26, I decided to retrace my steps back to the Flower Forest to see if I could uncover any more information about the High Reaver or what I could do as an elemental monkey in order to stop him. But it was while I was there, I once again encountered a familiar face.
Get away! I said get away! You can't attack me! Think of all my business ventures! My portfolio would be ruined if I'm destroyed by… ew, mushrooms!
It was the Wandering Trader! He was under attack, with some nearby fungus throwers hurling poisonous spores at him. The Wandering Trader ran for it, and I rushed in and tore one of the fungus throwers up with my claw attack, freezing the other with an ice blast. When the coast was clear, the trader re-emerged.
Zozo, many thanks again. If you keep saving me like this, I might have to put you on retainer.
Well, that's your business, I guess. From day 27 to day 31, while searching for answers around the Flower Forest, I came across a flock of lost sheep. They looked to me like they'd previously been looked after and cared for, but were now wandering the wild. Of course, they must have lived at one of the villages that the High Reaver destroyed. So I decided I would adopt them and bring them back to my base. I headed back home with the sheep in tow and got to work building a pen for them. I crafted some wooden fencing and arranged it so there'd be plenty of space for the sheep to roam about. They'd be much safer than roaming about unprotected in the wild. Then, the Mandragora Prince approached.
Zozo, while you've been gone, I've been working on a game room for us. Just a little token of my appreciation for you letting me stay here.
Wow, your princeliness. This looks great. You don't need to thank me though. I'm happy to help. Anything that'll make it easier to take down the High Reaver. Speaking of the High Reaver, he was making upgrades and allies of his own up at his base in the Frozen Peaks.
Ah, Vex, my diabolical old friend. You've returned to serve me once again.
Yes, High Reaver. What would you ask of me?
My plans have to accelerate. I thought I could trick that elemental monkey to my side. But now, we must make sure Zozo never reaches his full potential.
From day 32 to day 35, I decided I'd try a new approach, making some more allies of my own. After all, I had already clashed with the High Reaver once in a one-on-one, and it hadn't ended well for me. And before, when I'd been trying to evade the skeletons, I hadn't really listened to their side of things, and the High Reaver had used that to make me think they were the bad guys. That's why I returned to their base in the Flower Forest, but I wasn't given a warm welcome.
Hold it right there, it's you again. You're with the High Reaver. We knew you couldn't be trusted.
Without warning, the skeletons attacked. I had to take cover using my monkey agility to dodge their arrows. I needed to convince them that I didn't mean any harm. No, wait, I'm not with him. I was tricked, but I came back here to make amends. It must have worked because they stopped firing, but kept their bows trained on me.
You better come with us. The shepherd will want to speak with you.
They took me to their leader, a wise old shepherd. Say, did you lose some sheep lately?
My name is more of a metaphor. These skeletons are my flock. You see, Zozo, we were once the workers for a beastly tyrant. He commanded us to build a kingdom for him, and we had no choice but to obey. But he planned on working us to death, so we turned our backs on him before it was too late. In retaliation, he put a curse on those of us that passed, so that their bones may never rest.
He really is the worst, but I intend to stop him.
If what you say is true, then I ask you to prove your fealty. Then I will be able to share more with you.
From day 36 to day 39, after making a rocky start with the skeletons and the shepherd, I ventured off to mine for some more iron ore. I needed to complete my set of iron armor. It looked like my luck was beginning to turn around, because the iron wasn't all I managed to find. Buried deep in the cave were diamonds. Not enough to use just yet, but definitely worth hanging on to. By the time I returned back to the base, there was someone waiting for me that I'd never seen before. He told me that his name was Mason, and he'd been sent as a messenger by the shepherd.
He needs your help, Zozo. The time has come to prove your fealty. If you can act fast, then the shepherd and his skeletons will be at your side.
Before I left to aid the skeletons, I turned iron ore into iron ingots and forged myself a full set of iron armor. Better to be safe than sorry. From day 40 to day 43, I rushed to the location Mason had given me, deep in the heart of the ancient glowing forest. When I arrived, I finally saw the source of all the commotion. Some skeletons were under attack by Vex, the High Reaver's right-hand henchman.
Zozo, we've been trying to fend him off, but we need you.
I don't know if I can. This guy looks tough.
Please, we're counting on your help.
It was me versus Vex, one-on-one. I leapt into the fight and crossed swords with Vex, who seemed to be weirdly happy to see me.
There's the troublesome little elemental monkey I've heard so much about. The High Reaver will reward me handsomely when I bring you back to him in pieces.
We battled hard. I tried using my elemental powers like the Ice Blast. It had no effect. Vex shrugged it off like it was nothing.
Nice try. I don't really feel the cold.
I went in for a claw attack, but it barely left a scratch. It was becoming clear I wasn't going to win this fight, and if I was defeated or captured, I had no hope of ever stopping the High Reaver. So I decided to retreat, ashamed at my weakness. From day 44 to day 49, I headed back to my base, feeling a little crushed that I hadn't been able to defeat Vex or help the skeletons. It was made even worse by the fact that now the shepherd probably wouldn't want to help me anymore in my fight against the High Reaver. At least, that's what I thought at first, only to see him waiting for me when I arrived back at my base.
I owe you an apology, Zozo. I was wrong to bring you into such an intense battle so early, without all the skills and tools you'd need. But you showed a great deal of restraint out there, and initiative too. A fool would have kept fighting. It takes one wiser to know when it's time to retreat and live to fight another day.
Thanks, although retreating won't do much good against the High Reaver.
Well, I might have just the thing for that. As a show of goodwill, I will help you construct something that should take care of the High Reaver once and for all. The Destroyer. It is a powerful weapon, once capable of undoing even the High Reaver. But there is one condition. We must work together to build it.
Under the shepherd's directions, we made a start, making what we needed to create the Destroyer. It was going to be a special build, and the shepherd didn't have all the directions on hand. So after we had done all we could to get started, he pointed me in the right direction to learn more about how to complete the weapon. From day 50 to day 53, I left for the precarious frozen peaks, making sure I was careful to avoid the High Reaver's territory. If I got too close, no doubt he'd launch another attack on me. I was searching the dangerous peaks for a hidden cave. The shepherd said there was a secluded shrine somewhere up there, which contained a book that could tell me more about the Destroyer. After a whole lot of searching, I found what I was looking for. The book was old and dusty, but it told me everything I needed to know. Long ago, a group of mystics had divided the land into different regions, and each of them had taken control of an individual region. However, they learned that one among them was building an empire on the backs of workers, and he was planning to take control of the entire overworld. He was none other than the High Reaver. When the other mystics learned about this, they crafted a magical weapon called the Destroyer. However, it backfired. They were able to weaken the High Reaver and halt his progress, but in doing so, they destroyed their primary weapon against him. But what I was still wondering was, where did I fit into all of this? What was so important about me being an elemental monkey? Those questions would have to wait. I was getting uneasy being in the frozen peaks for too long, so I made my way back to my base. From day 54 to day 57, I was on my way back to my base when I crossed paths with the last person I wanted to see, Vex! He was on his way back to the High Reaver's base after the fight with all the skeletons, and he instantly leapt at me to attack.
Well, well, well. What do we have here? Come to turn yourself in, little monkey? You're making my job too easy. All I have to do is beat you and walk a few more feet to the High Reaver's stronghold to collect my kudos.
Back off, Vex. I'm not in the mood for you. We crossed swords once again, and I knew that the horrible henchman was trying to irk me and get under my skin. But as much as I wanted to teach him a lesson once and for all, I had to force myself to remember that I wasn't tough enough to beat him. I could hear the shepherd's wise words too. A fool keeps fighting, but a wiser person knows when it's time to retreat. So I fled and lived to fight another day. Meanwhile, the High Reaver had been watching from afar and wasn't too pleased that I had gotten away.
Vex, you buffoon! We need that elemental monkey gone for good. Only his energy can power the Destroyer. He has the potential to harness all the elements, and that makes him the perfect one to wield such a powerful weapon. Do better!
From day 58 to day 62, I was finally able to make it home safely and was greeted warmly by the Mandragora Prince back at my base.
I've really been taking to working on these improvements, Zozo. Come have a look. We have plenty of storage space now if you need a place to stash your weapons and armor.
Sure enough, the prince had whipped up an impressive armory for me, which reminded me my iron armor and iron sword were looking pretty worse for wear. But I still had those diamonds on me, so I headed back to the caves to do some more mining and search for more. After a while spent looking, I hit the motherlode! There were tons of diamonds glimmering in the cave walls, and I quickly pickled them free. Bringing them back to my base, I crafted a shiny new diamond chestplate along with a matching sword and pickaxe. These would be perfect for some added defense as well as extra damage while I was fighting, and the pick would make mining a breeze. From day 63 to day 66, the Mandragora Prince suggested I should try searching for the leftover pieces of the original destroyer to save building it from scratch.
I know exactly the place you could start looking, and with your diamond pickaxe, you should be able to get there with ease.
Following his directions took me to the magma waste, a deadly area filled with dangerous pools of lava. I had to watch my step and make sure I didn't slip and fall to my doom. I couldn't use my ice blast to freeze a safe path. The magma was too hot. But lucky for me, my elemental monkey agility did the trick. With enough searching, I came across an old stone structure that looked like it had been there for a long time. It was too thick for even my diamond pickaxe to get through, but there was a small slot that looked like it had been made for a key. That was a nuisance. I'd have to either finish the destroyer using the book, or come back if I ever found the right key. From day 67 to day 70, the shepherd returned to my base, and I was expecting we'd soon be getting back to work on building the destroyer. But it turned out there was trouble afoot, and the shepherd needed my help to resolve it. I followed the shepherd to where the trouble was occurring, a clearing within the ancient glowing forest where a mighty hellhound was waiting. I'd never seen a beast like it. What could I possibly do against that?
Try to connect with it, Zozo. You are the elemental monkey. You are more attuned with nature than the rest of us. Use that to speak to this creature.
So I left the shepherd to do just that. Nice, hellhound. Maybe stop attacking skeletons? I get you're probably after a bone, right? Well then, heal, boy. The hellhound growled and bounced at me, and I had no choice but to fight back in self-defense. I tried my best not to cause too much harm to the creature. After all, it wasn't working for the High Reaver. It was just an animal living its life, like the alpha hyena I'd seen before. Eventually, after a lot of struggle, I managed to get the hellhound to back down. That's better. Now come and join us. I promise I mean you no harm, but a hellhound like you could help us stop the High Reaver. Oh, sorry, I mean, good doggy? That seemed to work. From day 71 to day 74, I returned to my base with the hellhound in tow. But when I arrived, we were ambushed. It was Vex. He'd been following me ever since I'd clashed with him at the Frosty Peaks.
So this is where you've been hiding, Zozo. Why don't you come quietly, or I'll burn your base to ash.
We clashed once more. My new diamond sword was definitely leaving more damage against Vex this time around, but I still wasn't strong enough to beat him.
It's too late, Zozo. We already kidnapped the Mandragora Prince. You can't help anyone. Ha 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 ha.
With that, Vex rushed off. I rushed inside, but it was too late. They'd gone. I was devastated. The prince had been a helpful friend. We needed to work on improving the base, so I set about building a perimeter wall to defend against any further attacks. After all, Vex and the High Reaver now knew where we were. There was no telling if they'd come back. From his base, the High Reaver was thrilled. With the Mandragora Prince captured, there were no other rulers in the area to challenge his ascent to power. His plan to take over was once again coming to fruition. From day 75 to day 78, the shepherd came by the base. Word had reached him and the skeletons that the prince was captured by the Vex. And so he showed up to help with the base, finishing up the extra defenses.
Vex and the High Reaver have a rather strange connection to each other. Vex has been the underling of the High Reaver for as long as anyone can remember. But he has his own ulterior motive too. He's playing the long game, waiting for his master to take control of everything so that he can steal that power right from underneath the High Reaver. Vex wants to overthrow him after all the hard work is done.
Maybe I can turn them against each other somehow. Along with that useful information, the shepherd also offered me a fancy new weapon, a firework crossbow. This was sure to be a blast to use. With that in my arsenal, I headed off to track down Vex and get the Mandragora Prince back to safety. From day 79 to day 84, I followed the tracks left behind by Vex and came across him not long after.
He still had the prince held hostage, and there was no time to waste. I had to save my friend and stop the High Reaver's henchmen once and for all.
So coming along to join us, Zozo. You and the prince here can be taken before the High Reaver together.
How long do you think it'll take your boss to realize you want to overthrow him?
Oh, you've done it now. I'll make sure he never finds out when I silence you, little monkey!
I opened fire with my firework crossbow, blinding Vex to start as I rushed in with my diamond sword. But he quickly regained the upper hand, and even with the help of my special attacks and new weapon, I couldn't beat him. I ran away from Vex, instead meeting up with the imprisoned Mandragora prince.
Zozo, here, I lifted this from Vex's pocket when he captured me.
The Mandragora prince threw something towards me, a golden apple.
You're an elemental monkey. You're meant to be one with nature. Maybe this magic apple can help you.
I rushed and grabbed the apple. Eating it, I could feel myself getting stronger. It was like my connection to nature had been strengthened more than ever before. Vex started to back away. I now had 60 hearts, and I had unlocked a new ability, a powerful whirlwind attack. I had been connected to the element of air. I left the prince and ran back to battle the Vex one last time.
No! No!
With a huge gust of wind, I was able to finally defeat Vex. He fell from the frozen peaks until we could no longer see him, leaving the Mandragora prince and I free to return to the safety of my base. From day 85 to day 89, the prince and I returned to the base, and he imparted some new information to me.
You see, we Mandragora aren't just rival rulers to the High Reaver. He's also afraid of me because I am the last descendant of the Mystics who weakened him and caused his workers to turn against him. And he wasn't the only one to survive. This key has been in my family for many years. It will unlock the tomb of the last Mystic, and in there, you'll find what you need to finish the Destroyer.
With the magic key from the prince, I headed off to the dangerous magma waste to retrieve the components from the original Destroyer. I followed his directions and came across the tomb of the last fallen mystic, using the magic key to open it up and get inside. However, there was a security measure in place, just in case the High Reaver got his hands on the key. It was a ferocious Ravager guarding the tomb. I drew my diamond sword and hit the Ravager with a blast from my whirlwind attack, knocking it over. I leapt into battle, swinging my sword and even getting a few scratches of my claw attacks in there for good measure. The Ravager was tough, but I took it down and I was able to claim the component I needed to complete the Destroyer. From day 90 to day 94, I was making my way back across the precarious magma waste when a familiar foe approached me. It was the High Reaver.
Ah, there you are, my former friend.
We aren't friends. You tricked me, Reaver. I know all about who you are now, and the horrible things you've done.
What about you, Zozo? You did follow my orders for a time, didn't you? Without you, the Onion Queen would still be alive. So would poor Vex. It isn't too late to redeem yourself, though. Come on, join me. I have need for a new henchman, now that you've bested my last one.
I won't make that mistake twice. I clashed swords with the High Reaver. I knew I couldn't beat him on my own, but I just had to get away. If I could just make it back to my base and finish building the Destroyer, I'd finally have a chance at beating him. But the High Reaver must have known what I was trying to do and used one of his energy blasts to send me flying back into the Mystic's tomb. He caused a cave-in, sealing me inside, and dashed off with the piece I needed to finish the Destroyer. I was trapped. From day 95 to day 97, I had to mine my way out of the tomb with my diamond pickaxe. Once I was free, I rushed to warn my allies. Now that the High Reaver had the component of the original Destroyer, he'd no doubt be going after anyone who could help me finish mine from scratch. As I made my way back to the Flower Forest, I was horrified to see the skeleton's hideout in ruins. I found the shepherd amongst the wreckage, and he was on the verge of death. I tried to find something that could heal him, but it was already too late.
Zozo, you have to know your part in all of this. The Destroyer is just a way to channel power, but it's useless without an already powerful being to wield it. You are that being, an elemental monkey. In your hands, your connection to the natural world could be directed through the Destroyer. All the elements combining to defeat the High Reaver. Avenge us, Zozo. Put an end to his tyranny once and for all.
As the shepherd passed on, I swore I'd get revenge and stop the Reaver. On day 98, I rushed back to my base. If the High Reaver had attacked the shepherd to stop me from finishing the destroyer, then maybe he'd been back to my home to wreck the progress I'd made on it so far. Sure enough, I was met with an awful sight I'd been dreading. My base was in ruins. The destroyer I'd been working on was wrecked. Even the sheep pen had been smashed to bits. I sat in what was left of my base, feeling defeated. I'd fought so hard, and now it felt like everything I'd gone through had been for nothing. The High Reaver was so strong, he'd put me right back to square one, just like that.
Don't give up, Zozo.
Mandragora Prince, at least someone survived.
You can't let this stop you, Zozo. Don't you see? This carnage is meant to slow you down because you're closer than ever to beating the High Reaver. Destroying your base and attacking your allies is him acting out of desperation. Remember what the shepherd told you?
Live to fight another day. And I'm still alive, which means I can still stop him.
Exactly. And he's made one mistake. He's made it even easier for you to stop him.
Because he has the piece of the destroyer. With my elemental power, it can still be used to stop him. On day 99, I made my way back to the frozen peaks, this time intentionally going to the High Reaver's stronghold. He had no army serving under him. He was just one crazed monster trying to scrabble up power. All I needed to do was get that piece of the destroyer back.
Ah, Zozo, I expect you're not too happy with me.
Yeah, but you're gonna be even less happy when you see what I've got planned.
What? You think you can beat me? You've lost every battle we've ever had. You'd be a fool to keep fighting.
But a wiser person knows when it's time to retreat. We clashed once more, but this time, I wasn't trying to beat the High Reaver one-on-one. I knew I couldn't. Instead, my focus was on one thing, getting back the piece of the destroyer he'd stolen. He was too focused on trying to defeat me that the High Reaver didn't realize what my plan was, until it was too late. I grabbed the component and rushed away, making it back to my base as fast as I could before he could catch up to me. But he wouldn't have to wait too long for me to come back. At my base, with the Mandragora Prince's help, we used the ancient book I'd found and the knowledge he had from his mystic ancestors to focus all of my elemental power into the broken piece of the destroyer. It wasn't going to work the way it was intended, but we had a different plan. Boom! On day 100, our plan had worked. I'd fused with the destroyer and absorbed its power. Now my connection to nature as an elemental monkey was greater than ever. I was so attuned to the elements, I could even restore all the damage done to my base. This would finally allow me to get the upper hand against the High Reaver. Whooshing there with the speed of the wind, I arrived back at the stronghold in the frozen peaks as fast as I'd left. The High Reaver was surprised to see me back so soon, and I used that to my advantage. We fought for the last time. I had all the powers and skills I had learned along the way at my disposal. I used my mighty whirlwind attack to knock the Reaver off his feet, then swiped at him with my diamond sword and my claws. Whenever he'd attack me, I'd move out of the way with that smooth fluidity of water, then turn hard as ice when I needed to return the blows to him.
You combined with the destroyer? No, this is not how this is supposed to go.
It was a long, hard fight, but by remembering all the lessons I'd learned, I was finally able to land a final strike on the evil High Reaver!
No!
With one more hit, he fell from his stronghold at the top of the frosty peaks and plummeted to the ice below. I had done it! I defeated the High Reaver and stopped his plans to rule the overworld. On day 1, I spawned into the middle of the Black Forest as HEROBRINE, Minecraft's spookiest phantom. Well, a baby version of HEROBRINE anyway. But why am I here? I was on some kind of altar with a sinister robed figure standing and staring at me.
Yes, my plan worked. This is the growing sign that my powers are growing.
Plan? Powers? Who are you? And what's going on here?
You don't know the name of your master, boy. I am Dorian, the drowned necromancer, master of the undead. And you are my servant.
Servant? I didn't sign up for that. I don't even want to be a ghost. I want to have a body.
What you want doesn't matter. Without me, you wouldn't exist. And unless I choose to give you a body in the next 100 days, your spirit will fade away into nothingness. Bow to me, boy.
Never! And my name is Zozo.
With all my might, I jumped out of the altar and ran off into the forest as fast as I could. I didn't want anything to do with Dorian, the drowned necromancer, and his plan to get more power. I need to work on my plan, getting my body back. When I was convinced that I'd lost Dorian, I hid under a tree for the rest of the day. As a restless spirit, I couldn't even get any rest. Being HEROBRINE sure isn't easy. On day 2, I decided to further explore the Black Forest. It was dark and spooky, the exact kind of place that a scary spirit like me would be summoned. If I wasn't a ghost myself, I'd be afraid of running into a ghost around here. And, oh geez, I only have 5 hearts. I thought ghosts were meant to be more durable than this. But I didn't have time to wallow in self-pity for long, because a gang of frightening dreadliches emerged out of the trees. Why is everyone around here so eerie?
We serve our glorious master, Dorian, the drowned necromancer. He gave us new life, so we owe everything to him.
Oh, that's just my luck! And I guess you want to kidnap me and take me back to him for his sinister plans?
Huh. We didn't expect you to already know this. I guess it saves us some explanation time at least. In the name of Dorian, we commandeer your soul!
The dreadliches punched me. With no weapons and very low health, I didn't have any hope of fighting back against them. Instead, I turned around and ran as quickly as I could. My soul, my rules! The Black Forest seemed dark and infinite, so at least it wasn't difficult to lose those nasty liches. The downside was that I'd gotten lost myself, and as I wandered through the forest, getting more and more creeped out, I ran into a siren!
Oh, another ghost! How exciting!
Wait, you can see me?
Of course I can see you. I'm a psychic. Sarah the Psychic Siren, General Services. Pleased to meet you.
So, you're not going to try to steal my soul like everyone else I've met?
Steal your soul? Heck no! I'm a huge supporter of spirits' rights. Come with me, my new ghost friend. I'll introduce you to my boss.
Finally, having met someone nice, I followed Sarah the Psychic Siren through the trees. On day 3, Sarah led me through the forest until we came upon a small cottage. A sign outside read, "Psychic Services for all ghosts." Wow, I had no idea this kind of place existed, Sarah.
There are more ghosts in this forest than you think. It's got to be someone's job to take care of them and help them along their way.
Suddenly, the front door opened and a geomancer stepped out.
Zozo, meet my boss, Jerry the Geomancer. Jerry, I found Zozo here wandering through the Black Forest like a restless spirit. He needs our help.
Is that a fact? It's nice to meet you, Zozo. Tell me, how did you find yourself in this difficult situation?
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure. I was summoned and bound by this guy called Dorian, the drowned necromancer, and he told me that if I didn't serve him, I'd disappear in 100 days. It's got me pretty worried.
That's concerning. I've heard of many cases caused by this Dorian fellow, a truly dangerous customer. I'm gonna put Sarah on your case. She'll come and help you build a base and get situated. And together, we'll get your body back.
Thank you, Jerry and Sarah. I'm feeling better already.
Let's go, Zozo.
With the mission to get my body back decided on, Sarah and I journeyed further into the forest to get started. From day 4 to day 5, Sarah and I explored the Black Forest until we discovered an area with a nice, flat terrain. So, Sarah, what do you think we should do first?
I'd say cut down a few of these trees. That'll give you some of the wood you need to build a crafting table and a wooden pickaxe.
Great idea, Sarah! I cut down a tree and made a crafting table and a wooden pickaxe. From there, I mined enough stone to also create a stone pickaxe, axe, and a stone sword. It's difficult to hold this stuff, being a ghost, but I'll try my best.
That's the spirit, Zozo.
I cleared enough space in the forest to start laying down a basic base, collecting some extra wood along the way. It started off with a pretty basic setup, with just a room for me and a room for Sarah.
Oh, this is a nice setup, Zozo. I guess living with you technically means we're living in a haunted house.
Yeah, I guess so. Say, this is probably a pointless question to ask, but is it possible for ghosts to eat? Because I'm getting really hungry right now.
You're in luck, Zozo. I have an enchanted apple that ghosts can eat in my inventory right now. Enjoy!
Sarah gave me the apple, and I ate it. Instantly, I felt my power starting to grow. I had 20 hearts now, and I developed a new ghost ability, warping from place to place.
This is fascinating, Zozo. I feel so lucky that I'm getting to see it.
From day 6 to day 8, I went wandering around the nearby Twilight Valley, looking for more rare enchanted food. As a ghost, my ghostly hunger was really difficult to satisfy, and Sarah didn't know how to enchant more food. It kinda sucks to be a ghost. I still have a lot of the downsides of being human, plus a bunch of new downsides. But while I was wandering around the valley, I heard some commotion and ran in to see what was happening. Maybe I can help someone. In the distance, I saw a Vindicator chef, one of the most powerful types of chefs in the world, being attacked by a nasty gang of skeleton vanguards. A chef, huh? What a stroke of good luck. I used my new ghost power to warp over there and pulled out my stone sword. With all my focus and determination, I fought all of the skeleton vanguards until none remained. It was only me and the Vindicator chef.
You saved my life, sir. I owe you a great debt. What is your name?
I'm Zozo.
Zozo, a strong name for a strong hero. I am Victor, Victor the Vindicator Chef. And if you do a favor for me, I will repay your kindness by any means necessary.
That sounds like a good deal. What kind of favor would you like me to do?
Follow me, and I'll show you.
I followed Victor the Vindicator Chef deeper into the Twilight Valley, excited to get him on my side. From day 9 to day 10, Victor took me to a clearing in the valley where a huge mutant skeleton was waiting. Oh geez, that thing is a monster. You want me to defeat a mutant skeleton?
I believe in you, Zozo. Seeing you take down all those skeleton vanguards makes me completely confident in your ability to slay this beast. Go forth!
Thanks for the vote of confidence, Victor. I steeled myself as best as I could and warped over to the mutant skeleton. It immediately started attacking me, and I started attacking it back. But my attacks were barely doing anything, and its attacks were taking way too many hearts off of me. I gotta get out of here. I warped away from the fight and ran back to Victor, telling him the disappointing news.
Oh, well, I'm sure you tried your best nonetheless. I suppose we'll go our separate ways.
No, hear me out. I could really use a Vindicator chef back at my base. You're the only type of chef who can cook the type of enchanted food I can eat. How about you stay at my base, and I promise I'll come back and defeat this mutant skeleton when I'm strong enough.
That sounds like a good deal to me. Lead the way, dear Zozo.
From day 11 to day 12, I returned to the base with Victor the Vindicator chef. I know it isn't much, but it's home. I'm going to make you a room.
Thank you, Zozo. I'll get working on a little something of my own in the meantime.
I got to work, gathering up new materials, and started building a new little bungalow for the Vindicator chef to stay in while crashing at my base. What do you think, Victor?
This is a nice little room, Zozo. Thank you. And you can come and see what I made for you, too. Go and check your room.
I walked over and saw that Victor had made a high-end kitchen in my base. Perfect for cooking up the kind of enchanted food I could eat. This is amazing, Victor. I'm getting hungry just looking at it.
But the kitchen is only one side of the equation, Zozo. I need some good quality ingredients. Perhaps we should build a farm on the base.
That's another excellent idea. I decided to build a little enclosure and went out into the Black Forest where I found a bunch of chickens. It wasn't hard to herd them back to my base. I can taste the eggs and fried chicken already. When I returned to my room to relax, I found that Sarah the Psychic Siren was waiting for me with some new information.
I did some research into Dorian the Drowned Necromancer, Zozo, and found some interesting information. He used to be a flesh and blood necromancer, terrorizing the overworld by raising the undead, until one day the people rose up and drowned him in the ocean. Somehow, Dorian returned, and he's been acting on his evil plans ever since.
Wow, this guy is really scary. From day 13 to day 15, I returned to Sarah once again and asked her what she thought I should do in order to get my body back.
Right now, Zozo, knowledge is power. The more we can find out, the more likely we'll be able to help you get your body back. Head out to the Twilight Valley and see what you can find out.
That's an excellent idea, Sarah. I journeyed out into the Twilight Valley, which reminded me of the time that I'd failed to defeat the mutant skeleton. Why is nothing ever easy around here? But my difficulties were only just getting started. One of the Dreadliches who worked for Dorian the Drowned Necromancer came from behind me, ready to fight me.
I serve my glorious master, Dorian the
Drowned Necromancer, yeah, I get it. Let's just fight.
Fine, but way to take all the fun out of this.
I battled the Dreadlich with all my might. He was a formidable opponent, but in the end, I defeated him all the same. And that gave me the XP I needed to level up again. I got bigger, stronger, rose up to 40 hearts, and gained a new offensive power, lightning strikes. Finally, some actually cool ghost powers. From day 16 to day 19, I found my way into the wooded Badlands, where I continued my search for any useful information that could help me defeat Dorian, the drowned necromancer, and get my body back. During the first couple days of my search through the Badlands, I didn't find anything, but on day 19, I happened upon a dusty, old book hidden out of the way. Yay, reading! I love that! But it wasn't just a fun reading experience that would engage my imagination, it was also a book that contained some critical information about Dorian the drowned necromancer. It read, like all cardinal undead, the drowned necromancer has a beard of ice. Therefore, he must spend most of his time in the freezing cold, and he has a severe weakness to fire. So that's two useful pieces of information. Dorian has a weakness to fire, and he must be hiding somewhere cold. I can't wait to tell Sarah about this. But my celebration was short-lived, as suddenly a couple of dreadliches ambushed me, trying to get revenge for their friend I defeated back in the Twilight Valley. Thankfully this time, I had the power of ghostly lightning in my hands. I fired some lightning bolts at the dreadliches until they were destroyed. I'm getting my body back no matter what. From day 20 to day 22, I continued through the wooded Badlands, feeling strong and confident about all the information I'd found recently. I ran into a nasty gang of hungry spiders and used my new lightning ability to zap them. These spiders are hardly a threat to me now. I decided that now was the perfect time to upgrade my gear too. I searched until I found an underground cavern and looked around until I found some iron ore. I mined the ore and smelted it into some ingots, creating an iron sword and an iron pickaxe. Now I'm stronger than ever. Come to think of it, I have some unfinished business to take care of now. Remembering the debt I owed to Victor the Vindicator Chef, I returned to the Twilight Valley and hunted down that scary mutant skeleton I'd agreed to defeat. When I saw the mutant skeleton, I first unleashed a lightning strike, stunning it. Then I ran in and struck it again and again with my new iron sword until it was no more. A HEROBRINE always pays his debts. From day 23 to day 26, I returned to the base to let Victor the Vindicator Chef know that I had paid my debt to him by defeating the mutant skeleton.
I can see that you've gotten strong, just like you promised you would.
That's right, and I plan on becoming even stronger, Victor. They'll start calling me Victor too, because I won so many battles.
But that's my name, Zozo. Won't that get confusing?
True. I guess I'll just stick with Zozo. After my talk with Victor, I went to the underground cavern where I could mine for more iron. With my iron pickaxe, I was able to mine the iron ore in no time. In the same area, I found a treasure chest with a bunch of iron ingots that I could use to craft a full set of iron armor. I'm like a ghostly knight. I went back above and went to see Victor the Vindicator Chef again. He said he had some news to share with me.
Zozo, I've made an addition to the base that I think you might really enjoy.
He showed me a relaxation room that was perfect for ghosts like me. You did a really good job on this, Victor. We ghosts might not be able to rest in peace, but at least now we can relax about it.
It was no trouble at all, friend.
From day 27 to day 31, I was out exploring the same area of the wooded Badlands where I defeated the dreadliches. I came across a farmer who was jumping for joy at the sight of me. That's not the usual reaction people have for HEROBRINE, so I went over to ask why he was in such a good mood. What's got you so happy, Mr. Farmer?
It's because of you, Zozo. Those dreadliches were a real snake in my boot. But ever since you defeated them, I've had no worries.
Glad to hear it. Slaying evil monsters and improving lives is totally my thing.
Well, there is one small worry. When those dreadliches were still around, one of them scared off all my sheep. I needed them for wool.
I'll help you out. You can even come live at my base if you'd like.
That sounds pretty keen, Zozo.
I led the farmer back to the base, then set off through the Black Forest to find some sheep so I could gather the wool that the farmer was looking for. Taming them was easy enough, and soon there was enough wool to go around. Afterwards, I decided to do some decorating. These HEROBRINE banners will show the mobs that this base is home to one mighty ghost. With the decorations done, I found Sarah the Psychic Siren waiting inside.
There you are, Zozo. You have to leave the base with me now. It's an emergency.
What's going on?
Come on, I'll explain when we get there.
From day 32 to day 35, I left the base with Sarah and traveled through the Black Forest. Along the way, we were ambushed by a small gang of dreadliches. Boy, does this feel familiar.
I should have seen this coming. I am a psychic after all.
We serve our glorious master, Dorian the Drowned Necromancer.
They really do say it every time, don't they, Sarah?
They sure do.
Hey, don't diss our catchphrase, or we'll have to get mean. Well, meaner.
The dreadliches began to attack, so I zapped them with my ghost lightning strikes. None of the dreadliches I had fought before had seen that ability, so it took them by surprise, and I was able to quickly defeat them. We traveled on, and I soon noticed that Sarah and I had come to the place where Jerry the Geomancer had resided before. This time, it was completely destroyed, and the area was full of Dorian's dreadliches. Hey, this is Jerry's place. Get out of here!
It looks like we were too late, Zozo. This is exactly what I foresaw in my psychic vision.
I knew what Sarah meant when I saw Jerry backed against a corner. He had tried to fight the dreadliches on his own, but he was about to die.
Zozo, is that you? It seems I won't be able to see you get your body back.
Jerry, I'm sorry. We got here as fast as we could.
Don't worry about me. Dorian will surely pay for this. Make sure you and Sarah protect each other.
We will. Rest well, Jerry. I was so enraged by Jerry's death that I destroyed the dreadliches with my lightning strikes until there were none left in the area. From day 36 to day 39, I made a return trip back to the Twilight Valley. It hadn't changed much since the other time I was here, but there was a fisherman at the local pond who I hadn't seen before. Hello there, I'm Zozo.
Well, hi there, Zozo. I'm fishing. Oh, I'm just kidding. My name is Fred the Fisherman, and I could use a hand.
Sure, Fred. What seems to be the problem?
I know I'd be able to catch more fish if I had some twilight worms as bait, but they're all way up there in the higher parts of the valley. Can you go get a couple for me?
You can count on me, Fred. I climbed up the terrain of the Twilight Valley, enjoying the view along the way. With all that happened recently, it was nice to gather my thoughts for a moment. The moment didn't last long though, because I was attacked by a giant. Even though it was big, it had gotten the drop on me. I took a few swings with my iron sword to make it think twice, then I warped back a short distance and hit it with a few lightning strikes. I closed the distance back into melee range and finished it off with my sword. Soon after, I returned to Fred the Fisherman with the bait he was looking for. Happy fishing, hope you catch a big one.
Thanks. I only came here to the valley because the fishing in the ocean ain't that good anymore. Ever since that drowned necromancer rose from the sea, people have been afraid that he might have left a curse on it.
He is really evil, that Dorian. A curse on the place he was drowned. Sure sounds like him. From day 40 to day 43, I was looking at the base after coming home from my short journey and noticed that it had been redecorated to look even spookier, which for ghosts and spirits is incredibly cool. This place looks amazing.
I predicted that you would like the changes, Zozo.
Sarah, was this you? I do like it, but what was the occasion?
I wanted to invite some of my siren sisters to come live at the base. The new look is so they'll feel right at home. Is that all right with you?
Of course! If the other sirens are anything like you, then we'll all get along nicely. A while later, the other sirens that Sarah had mentioned arrived at the base. It was right at the time she had predicted that they would arrive. Hello everyone! Make yourself at home. Friends of Sarah are friends of mine.
Thanks for being so understanding, Zozo. Living at this base together always works out when we compromise.
Sure, the more the merrier. Soon after I greeted the sirens, the farmer who was also living at the base approached me so that we could talk.
Well, hey there, Zozo. You're just the ghost I was looking to see. I have another job for you, if you're willing.
Of course, I'm always willing to help a farmer in need.
I heard from some other farmers that there is a mutant Enderman running around and ruining everyone's crops. If you could take care of that mob, you'd be helping farmers everywhere.
You can count on me. From day 44 to day 49, I took up the farmer on his request and traveled to the Taiga Mountain. That mutant Enderman who was causing problems had to be around here somewhere. But it wasn't just mobs I had to worry about. Dorian was here on the mountain too, alongside a mutant zombie.
Well, 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 if it isn't the HEROBRINE who defied me. How has the spirit been faring? You're probably close to fading away into nothingness by now.
You wish, Dorian. My ghost form has only gotten more powerful, and I will use everything I have to get my body back.
Easier said than done, Zozo. You really think getting your body back will be so simple? I was counting on your ghost to become a vengeful spirit.
Wait, what do you mean?
Do you think the restless dead can return so easily to the way they used to be? Why do you think I still carry the curse of undeath after the villagers drowned me? It's because there is no way back to life for us evil spirits.
It can't be. Have I been getting stronger for nothing?
Yes, embrace your rage and frustration. Become the monster HEROBRINE and forget about reclaiming your body. My undead will help you become what you are meant to be.
Dorian, the drowned necromancer, disappeared into a fog, leaving behind the mutant zombie to battle me. From day 50 to day 53, I started my battle against the mutant zombie that had been sent against me. My lightning strikes were proving effective, but because of what Dorian, the drowned necromancer, had said, I was starting to get worried about using my ghost powers. I switched my sword and hacked away at the mutant zombie. I didn't use my warp or my lightning strike. It made the fight a lot harder, but I had to believe that I was more than just the monster HEROBRINE. I am going to get my body back, no matter what. The mutant zombie was defeated after a big struggle, and it dropped a spellbook once it was defeated. I took a moment to examine it, and I saw a flashback to Dorian's revival. He had just emerged from the ocean as a drowned necromancer and was looking to get revenge on the people of the world for what they did to him, casting down lightning strikes in his wrath. He researched the legends of other powerful undead beings, and he eventually came across the story of HEROBRINE. It looked like he didn't just steal my body to make me into a ghost. He wanted to make me just like the dangerous and evil HEROBRINE from the stories. Maybe then, he'd finally have someone else as tortured and wicked as himself to hang out with. From day 54 to day 57, I resumed the farmer's quest to stop the mutant Enderman in the Taiga Mountain. I found the mob in the process of a rampage, and with some nervousness, I approached. Can I actually defeat this mutant Enderman without my ghost powers? The mutant Enderman sprinted at me and swiped at me with its powerful limbs. My hearts were getting low, and I was still weakened from the fight with the mutant zombie.
Is that all the great HEROBRINE can do against me? I thought you were more powerful. That's what the story said.
Believe everything you hear. I may not be the same HEROBRINE that is feared by everyone, but I am HEROBRINE myself. When I said it out loud, it made sense. I could use my ghost powers because I was the one in control of them, and I was using them to help. Take this!
Ow! Lightning strikes hurt! I thought I could be the scariest, but now I'm done for!
My ghost powers made short work of the mutant Enderman. He dropped an item upon his defeat, which turned out to be an antler headdress. With this headgear equipped, all of my attacks would gain greater knockback. What a neat upgrade! I returned to the farmer at the base and told him that I had defeated the mutant Enderman.
It seems that I can always count on you, Zozo. As a reward for getting rid of that mutant Enderman, I'll tell you a secret about Dorian, the drowned necromancer.
What do you know about him?
I was there when the villagers drowned him in the ocean. His last words were a curse to everyone. He said, "Soon you'll all feel the loneliness that I have felt."
What did he mean?
I don't know, but he probably had something real evil in mind when he said it.
From day 58 to day 62, I managed to herd some more chickens into the base just to make sure we had a big enough food source for everyone. Then, I made my way deep into the underground cavern so I could do some mining for better materials. I used my iron pickaxe to dig until I struck diamonds and mined myself enough to create a diamond pickaxe. I equipped the new tool and kept mining diamonds until I had enough to craft a diamond sword, leggings, a chestplate, and boots. This new weapon and armor would serve me well in battle against the undead forces of Dorian, the drowned necromancer. With my first pieces of diamond armor and gear in tow, I returned to the base, and there were now floating lanterns of ghost lights around the base. I even found that a new room had been added. Sarah had been hard at work, making our haunted house into a haunted home.
This is just my way of saying thanks, Zozo. You've really been a friend to everyone after we lost Jerry the Geomancer. I feel like I could stay here for a very long time.
Thanks, Sarah. That means a lot too, because for ghosts like us, a really long time might mean eternity. From day 63 to day 66, I was down in the underground cavern making some expansions to the mine when Victor the Vindicator Chef came to see me.
Hey Zozo, I heard that you were still looking for your original body. There's a biome nearby where you may not have looked yet.
Oh, really? Well, I'm glad you thought to tell me about it, Victor. I went back above ground and traveled to the place that Victor had told me about, the Wooded Badlands. I looked around for any signs of necromancy magic or a gravestone, anything that might lead me to my body. That's when I noticed a scary Gorgon sneaking up on me.
Boo!
Hey, don't say boo to me. I'm a ghost. That's our thing.
Sorry. I thought it would be fun to startle you. I didn't mean any offense.
It seemed like she meant it. That was a relief, because I thought I would have to fight this Gorgon. You're a lot nicer than you look.
I could say the same thing about you. You're the HEROBRINE, aren't you?
Sorta. I'm the new HEROBRINE. My name is Zozo.
Zozo, huh? I'm Morgan. You could still help me with a HEROBRINE quest, right?
I think so. What did you have in mind?
Oh, you agreed! This way, a new ghost friend.
From day 67 to day 70, I followed Morgan the Gorgon through the Wooded Badlands to find out more about this HEROBRINE quest she had mentioned.
So, aren't you curious about this HEROBRINE quest of ours?
Yes, actually. I was waiting for you to tell me more.
Well, according to the scary stories about HEROBRINE, he is supposed to be the most powerful undead because of his ability to rebuild and destroy.
Rebuild and destroy?
Yes, HEROBRINE can destroy and rebuild the world however he wants, and anyone who is able to control him would be able to gain the same power.
I don't have that kind of power.
Not yet. That's why we're on this quest. You need to regain your power by facing down another being that HEROBRINE fought. That's why we're headed to the lair of the Dreadbeast.
We soon arrived at a part of the Wooded Badlands where the dangerous mob, known as the Dreadbeast, was known to have her lair. Come on out, Dreadbeast. I am Zozo the HEROBRINE, and I challenge you. The Dreadbeast soon emerged and roared with anger.
You think you're HEROBRINE? Please, I battled the real HEROBRINE in the past. You'll never be as powerful a ghost as him.
We'll see. The Dreadbeast charged in, but I knocked her back with a couple slices from my diamond sword, combined with the increased knockback from the antler headdress. She tried to resist and charge at me, but I warped out of the way and brought down lightning strikes until she was defeated. From day 71 to day 74, I thanked Morgan the Gorgon for helping me learn more about the HEROBRINE from the stories and left her to travel further across the Wooded Badlands in search of my body. I was starting to get the hang of this new spooky HEROBRINE story, and I was also starting to think it was going to end up being a pretty good one. But it's not the only story that you can find on this channel, so you should look for my other videos by typing ZO into the search bar. I arrived at a rundown structure in the middle of the Wooded Badlands. I thought it maybe had something to do with how my old body might have lived. Yeah, I can feel it. I was definitely here before I was a ghost.
But that's what you are now, so why try to go back?
Dorian, it's you.
Still chasing after the past, Zozo? You will become my HEROBRINE, and I will use your powers to rebuild a world where everyone is as lonely as I've been.
That's a terrible thing to do, and I won't let you get away with it. I tried to lightning strike him, but he was immune to the damage. When I swung my diamond sword, he struck back with his own weapon, doing far more damage than I could do to him.
Fool, you actually thought I wasn't prepared to fight you. You'll get a bit stronger, but your ghost form will still fade away. Before then, I do hope you help me achieve my lonely world. What else do you have to continue on for?
Dorian, the drowned necromancer, spared my ghostly life, probably because I was still important to his plans. One thing's for sure, I need to get stronger than he ever imagined I could be. From day 75 to day 78, I kept thinking about how I should face Dorian the drowned necromancer. He had been a restless spirit for a lot longer than me, and maybe I'd have to become just as evil as him to have a fighting chance. But I don't want to be evil. I don't want to be that kind of HEROBRINE. Seeing that I was down, Sarah the psychic siren came to my room to cheer me up.
Zozo, I foresaw that you would be sad, so I made sure to give the basin an almost invisible enchanted mist so it'd be hidden from attacks. That way, nobody will disturb us without us expecting it.
That's really good, Sarah. Thank you.
Let me tell you, Zozo, in my professional opinion as a psychic, I don't predict that you'll turn evil.
I hope I can live up to your predictions. I went outside for a bit to get some air, and shortly after, Victor the Vindicator Chef joined me with a fresh new magic cake that he had just baked.
Give this a try, Zozo. I think it might just pick you up.
Thanks, Victor. I gobbled up the cake and felt a transformation coming on. I doubled in size and my heart gauge increased to contain 80 hearts. Victor sure knows how to cook. From day 79 to day 84, I went back to the wooded Badlands to see if I could face Dorian the Drowned Necromancer again. I knew this whole thing would be over if I could just shut him down. Dorian wasn't here himself, but it seemed like he might have used some of his necromancy to mobilize a few random skeletons to fight me. With my lightning strikes, I was easily able to blow away these weak undead. I wasn't satisfied with the amount of searching I'd done here, so I examined the structure more closely. That's when I noticed doors that led to a dwelling where a pink pixie was staying. Hello there, I'm Zozo. Do you know anything about who used to live here?
Yeah, I do. There was a village here that was destroyed by storms, a blizzard and a thunderstorm. There was only one surviving villager, and he was really alone.
Was that villager HEROBRINE?
Yeah, this is the place where HEROBRINE's story began. The land has been cursed, and plants have never grown as well here since.
It's just like that curse that Dorian put on the ocean. I've got to put the hero in HEROBRINE and find a way to lift both of those curses.
This may help you in your journey, Zozo.
Pixie gave me a netherite helmet, an extremely durable piece of armor that would certainly give me a fighting chance the next time I saw Dorian. From day 85 to day 89, I returned to my base, excited to show my friends the awesome netherite helmet I'd been given. Instead, I found a bunch of dreadliches invading my base, trying to find and attack those same friends. Oh, I can't let this slide. I don't want to overuse my ghost powers, but for the sake of my friends, it's a risk worth taking. I started firing lightning blasts left and right, destroying them quickly and dropping their morale. The rest saw my skills and took off running, but I wasn't going to let an attack on my own base slide. I came running after them, but while chasing them, I ran into a troll who seemed to be crying. As much as I wanted revenge, I didn't want to leave a clearly distressed guy on the hook like that. So I asked him what was wrong.
I've been working on my novel, but I can't seem to get through it. I'm losing confidence in myself.
You can do it, Mr. Troll. Just believe in yourself and try to get past the first draft. I'll be excited to read it when it's done.
Thank you, kind stranger. I'll never forget this.
From day 90 to day 94, I followed the surviving dreadliches into the snowy plains. It was freezing. I remembered what I had read about Dorian before. He needs to be cold. He must be hiding somewhere out here. I'm on his territory now. But I couldn't afford to worry about that just yet. I needed to track down and defeat those liches. Eventually, I caught up to them. They must have gotten exhausted and stopped. I finally had my chance. You guys are gonna pay for attacking my base.
Oh, Zozo, you're so naive! Dorian knew everything. He predicted exactly what you'd do. And now you're going to get destroyed.
You've never been able to destroy me before. What makes you guys think you're gonna be able to do it now?
Oh, it won't be us, Zozo. It'll be him.
A huge, terrifying Dread Knight stepped out, and the Dreadliches all ran off. He must have been one of Dorian's most dangerous henchmen yet. Even as a ghost, I think I'm gonna ache after this one. From day 95 to day 97, I went head-to-head with the Dread Knight, and he was as fast and as powerful as I'd feared. And as the battle went on, I was worried I might be doomed, until I got a second wind and fought back with all of my might. Soon enough, I defeated even the terrible Dread Knight, the deadliest of Dorian the Drowned Necromancer's henchmen. I'm stronger than I've ever been, but does this mean I'm doomed to become evil and end up serving that monster? But my worried thoughts were interrupted by a new discovery. When the Dread Knight was defeated, he dropped a notebook containing instructions direct from the enemy. Destroy Zozo. He is unworthy of the title of HEROBRINE. Return to the ice cave when you are done. If you need anything extra to finish the job, check the chest behind the broken boulder. So now I knew that Dorian was hiding in some kind of ice cave, and that note about the chest really intrigued me. I searched the snowy plain until I found a boulder that looked half shattered, and then I found a chest behind it. And inside the chest was a battle axe. This belongs to Dorian. I can't wait to give it back to him. On day 98, I returned to my base to tell everyone who'd helped me how all of this was going to unfold. For all I knew, it might be my final chance to speak with them. Guys, I wanted to thank all of you for how much you've helped me. I never could have gotten this far without you. This final part is so dangerous that I have to do it alone. Dorian is more powerful than ever, but I'd rather be destroyed than let him use me as an evil tool.
There's no way he'd destroy you, Zozo. You're too powerful and too good-hearted. And in the end, the good guys always win, and the bad guys always lose.
Here, here. After you defeat him, Zozo, I'll bake a mighty cake that we can all enjoy.
And I'll farm all the best quality ingredients. You got this, Zozo. I have full confidence in you.
You're all the best. I'm gonna defeat him for you, all of you, and I'm going to get my body back. On day 99, I ventured back to the snowy plains with everything I needed to finally take on the big, bad beast of a necromancer who stole my body. It's time for me to show you the door, Dorian. Didn't actually take me that long to find the ice cave that was Dorian's hideout because I spotted a large guard force of dreadliches waiting outside, keeping a lookout. Talk about an undead giveaway. There were so many of them, and they looked better armed and armored than usual. Dorian must have known I was coming and put them here to slow me down before the final battle. It's an ingenious plan. What can I do?
I think I may be of service.
I turned and saw that Morgan the Gorgon was behind me. Morgan, what are you doing here?
Sorry for following you. I was gonna yell boo again, but it didn't seem like the right moment. I feel like I've been missing out on all the action. Let me distract these undead creeps, and you can go in there and take down the big bad guy.
Sounds like a great plan, Morgan. Let's do this. On day 100, while Morgan was distracting the dreadliches outside, I entered the ice cave and found Dorian the drowned necromancer waiting for me.
You made it through my servants. How?
It's because I don't have servants. I have friends.
Oh, spare me all that self-righteous foolishness. You can't talk your way out of serving me. I brought you back. I bound you. You belong to me, Zozo, and nothing will change that.
I'm going to keep fighting, no matter what, for myself and my friends. And when I'm done, all you're going to be is a bad memory.
Then let's see. Time to go back to the void, silly little ghost.
I unleashed everything I had onto Dorian, not giving up, even as he fought back against me. I could tell as the battle went on, he was getting weaker and weaker. I pulled out the battle axe that Dorian had left for his Dread Knight to destroy me. I'm sure the void will welcome you, Dorian. And with one more strike, Dorian was no more. There was a tremendous flash, and in the moment that Dorian was destroyed, my body was returned to me. Wow, it feels amazing to be back. On day 1, I spawned in by the remains of a crashed ship as the imposter from Among Us. Wow, it'll be hard to tell me apart from a crew member, even though I'm just a baby imposter. It's a good thing I survived the crash, but I couldn't stay relaxed for long. A soul vulture walked up to me, and it looked hungry. Guess I'm about to find out if imposters have souls. The soul vulture looked like it was about to attack me, but it was suddenly hit with an energy blast and exploded. I turned to see who fired the blast and saw a red Mungus captain walking towards me. Oh, thank goodness, you saved my life, Captain.
Enough blubbering, recruit. We lost enough good men when we crashed onto this planet. Do you know what happened to the imposter?
He knew about me. I needed to stay in character, and that meant I needed to trick him. The imposter? I bet it was destroyed when the ship crashed.
Unlikely. The imposter is too crafty for that. Listen, we have 100 days of supplies. In that time, we need to rebuild the ship, destroy the imposter, and get out of here. Now make yourself useful and go find the other crew members.
Sir, yes, sir. As I walked away, I thought about how crafty and tough the Red Captain seemed. If I couldn't outsmart him in the next 100 days, I'd be toast. On day 2, I left the Red Captain to his own devices and ventured out to search for a solution to my problems. I've only got 10 hearts. Something as dangerous as the Red Captain and his Mungus crew would eat me alive the way I am right now. Speaking of eating me alive, while I was walking along, I was approached by a group of vicious tarantula hawks. This planet has some really dangerous animals. Without any weapons or abilities, there was no way I could fight off against these monster bugs and survive. I ran off as fast as I could until I'd lost them. As I was regaining my strength, I saw another Mungus crew member approaching. This one was blue.
Are you a friendly?
Yes, Red Captain sent me out on a recon mission. With that, the blue crew member seemed to relax and approach.
Good. You can't be too careful these days. It's possible that the imposter survived the crash. I'm Corporal Blue. Who are you?
I'm Zozo. Awaiting further orders, sir.
Then follow me. Another survivor set up an encampment near here. He outranks us, so we should go see him.
Sir, yes, sir. Lead the way. Corporal Blue started walking, and I followed him, relieved that he bought my story. On day 3, I followed Corporal Blue over to the encampment he told me about. A tough-looking orange mungus was waiting for us next to the fire.
This another survivor, Corporal?
Sir, yes, sir.
Well, he's not much to look at, but after the crash, I suppose we have to take what we can get. I dispatched people across the surface of this planet to search for more. I'm Sergeant Orange. What do they call you?
I'm Zozo, sir. Basic recruit. I'm not very strong yet, but I'll always do my best.
Heartwarming. You need to get yourself some weapons and set up another encampment. Stat! There's safety in numbers. We need to root out and destroy the imposter as soon as we can.
But Sergeant, if you don't mind me asking, why does this imposter even want to hurt us?
That's classified, son. Just follow your orders and start building the base and equipment. We have 97 days to get off this mudball of a planet, and we have no time to waste.
With that, Corporal Blue and I headed off to work on Sergeant Orange's demands. They were still none the wiser that I was the imposter among them. From day 4 to day 5, Corporal Blue and I found a nice place to start working on our base.
First and foremost, recruit, we're gonna need a crafting bench and a wooden pickaxe. Start busting down some trees.
I'll get right on it, sir. After some lumberjacking, I built myself a crafting bench and a wooden pickaxe. Then I mined into the ground and collected enough stone to build myself a stone pickaxe and stone sword.
Good work, soldier. Now start building that base.
Using the rest of the wood and stone, I started building a base. It was basic at first, with 2 separate rooms for the Corporal Blue and I.
This is looking good, recruit. But we don't have time to rest. Some hostile creatures are approaching. Go stop them.
Sir, yes, sir. I ran off and intercepted some tarantula hawks, and this time I had a stone sword to fight them off. It didn't take long to defeat them, and that gave me the XP to upgrade. I now had 30 hearts, and I also unlocked an energy blast cannon. This is gonna come in handy later. From day 6 to day 8, I went exploring, hoping to find some time away from the Mungus crew members so I could figure out some kind of plan. To be the true imposter, I need to outsmart and defeat all the crew members. I'm not strong enough yet, and I need to gain their trust. But while wandering along, I happened upon a green mungus being chased by some bubble parasites. Maybe if I helped him, they'd trust me more. Don't worry, fellow crew member, I'm coming to help you. I ran in with my stone sword and defeated the bubble parasites, saving the green crew member.
Wow, you really saved my bacon there. I was worried my goose was cooked.
All these food metaphors are making me hungry. Want to come back to my base?
I would, but Red Captain sent me out here to destroy the bubble monster. But I couldn't even defeat its bubble parasites.
Then let's go together. Maybe we can defeat it with our powers combined. So the 2 of us went off to defeat the bubble monster. From day 9 to day 10, I followed the green mungus crew member until we saw the bubble monster wandering around. It looked way scarier than the bubble parasites. I can see why you had trouble fighting this thing. Let me see what I can do. I ran in and fired an energy blast against the bubble monster, but that only seemed to make it angry. It ran towards me, and considering how strong it was, I knew that all I could do was run away. I met back up with the green crew member. You're right, that bubble monster is way too tough to take on now. Let's head back to my base. We'll pool our resources and take this monster on later.
You seem to really know what you're doing. I'll follow you. Let's go.
So I started leading the crew member back to my base, having gained the trust of another mungus. From day 11 to day 12, I returned back to my base with the green crew member and started building a new floor and a new room. The more people I could have around at any given time, the less anyone would suspect of me being the imposter. By the time the new room was done, the green crew member approached me with some exciting news.
I've been working on another section of the base. I figured we might need our storage areas ready for weapons and equipment.
That's excellent, fellow crew member. Let's go take a look. Green had built an excellent storage room, perfect for supplying what was left of the Mungus military. They were only going to get stronger as time went on. I need to make sure all of my own tools are up to date. I found a mine where I could dig up some old iron ore and took it back to the base. I began to smelt that iron until I had enough to make an iron sword and an iron pickaxe. Then I returned to see how Green was doing, making sure to act natural. Green, just between you and me, do you have any idea what the Red Captain is planning for us?
It goes above my pay grade, comrade. But I do know that Red Captain is calling in reinforcements, and he wants us to acquire heavy weaponry and supplies for some kind of secret mission.
Fair enough. I guess I'll work on buffing out our supplies. I spent the rest of the day building a paddock to store some sheep in, and then herding some sheep into it, wondering what exactly the Red Captain had planned for us all. From day 13 to day 15, Corporal Blue came to give me some new orders.
Recruit, I want you to go out and search for other lost crew members. The more people we can bring in to help us build our encampments, the better.
Sir, yes, sir. I went out into the further reaches of this strange new planet, pretending that I was doing exactly what Corporal Blue wanted, while I was secretly planning on sabotaging it all. That's what being the imposter is all about. And while I was out searching, I ran into a pair of munguses.
Hey, you're on our side, right?
Yeah, but nobody seems to tell me what the mission is. Do you know?
That's on a need-to-know basis, kid, and you don't need to know.
Then I guess that's all we have to say to each other. I shot one of the munguses with an energy blast, and then pulled out my new iron sword to take on the other. Soon enough, both were defeated. Looks like I'm really living up to the imposter mantle. That's when I noticed that one of the munguses dropped some kind of scientific healing serum. Don't mind if I do. I drank the health serum and found myself getting bigger and stronger. I now had 60 hearts and the ability to shapeshift. This is gonna make me a better imposter than ever before. From day 16 to day 19, I continued searching after defeating the pair of patrolling munguses. I'm glad nobody is around. If anyone saw me fighting those munguses, they'd know I'm a fake immediately. While walking around, I found a book on the ground. It seemed like it was some kind of military journal from one of the munguses stranded on the planet. I picked it up and took a look inside.
This crash has seriously affected the timeline of the mission. We lost half our crew, and the rest is scattered all around the planet. We need to find and destroy the imposter that brought us down. Once we've gotten rid of him, we can continue the extermination plans.
Extermination plans? I'm beginning to think these munguses don't have the kindest intentions here. Before I could think too hard about what was happening, I was ambushed by another mungus. He must have seen me taking out those other crew members. Thankfully, with my iron sword, it wasn't hard to defeat him. I just needed to go back to my base now and ensure that nobody suspected a thing. From day 20 to day 22, I returned to my base, covering my tracks to make sure nobody knew about my conflicts with the other munguses. On the way back, I fought a gang of bubble parasites, which were even easier to defeat than they were before. I'm really getting into the hang of this whole imposter thing. I arrived back at my base and smelted the rest of my iron to create some iron armor, which would improve my defenses against attackers of any kind. I finally felt ready to go and settle an old score. I went out to battle the bubble monster that seemed unbeatable a few weeks ago, but with my new sword and armor, it didn't take me long to bring him down. That's another win for Zozo!
Good work, son, but we're only just getting started.
I turned and saw the Red Captain was approaching. I waved to him, trying to hide my nervousness. Red Captain, what a lovely surprise!
Not all surprises are lovely, Zozo. Case in point, this situation with the imposter, he's undermining our authority. I saw that a few of my soldiers went missing. He must be behind it.
Is this all delaying the extermination plan?
Because I like you, I'm not gonna ask how you know about that. But tread carefully, Zozo. You never know when something dangerous is just around the corner.
From day 23 to day 26, I returned to my base to deliver the good news to the Green Mungus recruit. I did it! I finally beat the bubble monster.
That's great! I knew you could do it!
Thank you for having faith in me.
Of course! Your strength is my strength, comrade!
With that, I left the base and wandered for a bit to clear my head. I wanted to tell him the truth, but I couldn't. I had to keep the fact that I was an imposter to myself until I could figure out what to do about the extermination plan. I found a book containing the fire aspect enchantment that would really boost my sword power. This is amazing! I can use this to enchant my sword and give it the ability to set targets on fire. I rushed back to my base and used the book to enchant my sword, and some of my remaining iron to fix it up. When I was finished, the Green Mungus came over to talk to me again.
Zozo, while you were out, I built an additional paddock to contain any more sheep or other livestock you might find. I hope this proves useful.
That's great! You work really fast. I'm impressed. Looking at the awesome upgrades to the paddock that the green recruit had made, part of me just hoped he wasn't in on whatever evil plan was afoot.
From day 27 to day 31, I went back out to explore the Red Rock Highlands. While I was looking around, I was approached by a group of munguses. Uh-oh, I hope they're not onto me.
Hey, you're the guy who got rid of the bubble monster, right?
Yeah, I am. I was pretty relieved that was their question.
If you're that good of a fighter, we definitely want to stick with you. Have a safe place that we can hang out?
Sure thing. You can stay at my base for as long as you want. I sent the munguses back to my base and continued exploring. I gathered some sand to make some glass in the furnace, then headed back to my base to use it. I used the glass to add some new windows to the base so I would be able to see outside whenever I was hanging out inside. As I finished adding the windows, the Blue Mungus Corporal approached me.
Recruit, our sergeant needs our assistance. He is currently under attack, and we need to get there and help out immediately.
Sir, yes, sir. From day 32 to day 35, I followed the Blue Mungus Corporal to where the Orange Mungus Sergeant was being attacked. I saw a group of tarantula hawks fighting with the sergeant, and I sprang into action. I used my newly enchanted sword to attack the tarantula hawks with fire, but there were so many of them. While I was focused on fighting one group of them, another group managed to take down the sergeant before I could save him.
No!
The Mungus Corporal rushed over, but it was too late to do anything to help the sergeant. He was gone. I'm so sorry about the sergeant, sir.
As am I, but sadly, that is what happens on the battlefield sometimes. We must press on.
It's still sad, though.
You're a curious man, Recruit. Sometimes I'd swear you don't act like a mungus at all.
I started to get a little nervous when he said that.
It's refreshing. Thank you. No time to stand here talking. We'd better get moving.
From day 36 to day 39, I went back to the meadow. Before I had a chance to explore very much, a green mungus recruit came running up to me.
Zozo, help! The Red Captain sent me to clear this area of hostile forces, but I'm not strong enough to beat this Ender Creeper. If I get too close, I'm scared it'll blow up and take me with it. Could you come fight it with me?
Sure thing, let's go! The green mungus and I sprinted over to the area where the Ender Creeper was still, well, creeping around. Taste the energy blast, you creepy creeper! I shot an energy blast at the Ender Creeper. Then I attacked with my enchanted sword and burned him up. Before long, that Ender Creeper was toast, literally.
You really are an amazing fighter. Thank you so much for your help. We'll definitely be able to use you for the special mission.
Right, the special mission. Which mission was that again?
No, the Captain's special secret mission. The one dealing with the imposter home planet. Don't tell me you haven't heard about it.
Oh, that plan! No, I totally heard about it. After the green mungus ran off, I was left alone to wonder what he meant. What could the captain be planning to do with my home planet? From day 40 to day 43, I headed back to my base. I couldn't stop thinking about what the green mungus had told me. The imposter home planet. I guess that's where I'm from too. What's the captain going to do to it? I wish I could get him to tell me about the extermination plan. I get the feeling it's nothing good. I didn't have time to ask myself any more questions because when I got to my base, the Blue Mungus Corporal was waiting for me.
Recruit, I've been hard at work in your absence. Take a look at this new guard tower, which will add a necessary line of defense to the base.
Whoa, that looks awesome. I feel safer already.
I'm pleased to hear that. I want to invite additional recruits to the base so that they can take shelter here and avoid potential attacks by the imposter.
Sounds like a great idea. More munguses arrived at the base and I showed them to their room. There's plenty of space for everyone. Next, the mungus I met earlier came up to talk to me.
Zozo, we need your help again! The Red Captain is requesting as many of us as possible to go to his coordinates and help him with a special task. We could use your fighting skills. Will you join us?
Sure. Hey, maybe he'll tell us more about that secret project. From day 44 to day 49, myself and the different munguses went in different directions to go and meet up with the Red Captain. We went different ways, so if the imposter ambushed either of us, at least one group would survive, although he didn't know I was the imposter all along. Or did he? When I arrived at the Red Captain's coordinates, I got a nasty surprise. The captain was there alone, waiting for me. What had happened to all the others? Red Captain, the munguses said you wanted to see me. You needed as many troops as possible. What's happening?
Tonight, we're finally gonna destroy the imposter, young recruit.
Oh, have you found him? Where is he?
Simple. He's standing right in front of me. Now don't be silly, son. If you move any step in any direction, I'll vaporize you with a well-placed energy blast.
But I'm not the imposter, sir. I swear.
Don't waste your last breaths on lies, imposter. I've been watching you all along, following your movements carefully. You think you're slick? I know exactly what you are.
At this point, I was terrified. I was frozen in place with no idea what to do. So are you going to destroy me then?
Thankfully, I won't need to make the effort. Something special survived the ship's crash. A security golem, perfectly designed for destroying sneaky little imposters like you.
The Red Captain walked away, and in walked the terrifying security golem. My secret was out, and now the robot was going to give me a real run for my money. I fired an energy blast at him, and he was completely unfazed. Time for me to see how strong I really am. From day 50 to day 53, the security golem began its onslaught. It fired its laser at me, and I barely managed to dodge. As the robot ran in, I unleashed the flame-enchanted iron sword on him, striking him again and again until the flame effect burned through his armor and ate away at his circuits. Soon enough, after a hard fight, the security golem collapsed, defeated. When it disappeared, it dropped 3 things: a tricked-out crossbow, arrows, and a data log. A data log that just happened to contain the true details of the Red Captain's extermination plan.
We've been at war with those pesky imposters for decades now, but this time we're gonna deal with them once and for all. If we can send a big enough Mungus army with enough heavy artillery at their disposal, we can wipe out the entire imposter planet once and for all and end this pesky, expensive war.
I was horrified by what I saw. So the extermination plan was to exterminate my entire home planet? That's awful. I need to put a stop to this myself. But after the Red Captain uncovered my secret, I had no idea who was still on my side. I guess I just need to find out. From day 54 to day 57, I started heading back to my base. On the way there, I ran into a gang of munguses loyal to the Red Captain.
Well, 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 if it isn't the imposter. I always knew that you were a little sus. He told us to wait here in case you survived the security droid. The Red Captain always thinks of everything.
Yeah, including trying to exterminate all of my people. That must be why I was sent to sabotage your mission. You were going to do something pure evil.
There is no evil in war, Zozo. Only winners and losers, and the winners get to decide who was right all along.
But I wasn't going to listen to these munguses excuse their evil boss's actions. I pulled out my new crossbow and expertly sent a bolt at each of them. They dropped a strength potion, which I grabbed and added to my inventory. You never know when you'll need this. I returned to my base and immediately ran up to the Corporal Blue. I had no idea if the Red Captain had already told him the truth, but there was only one way to find out.
Zozo, you look exhausted. Is everything okay?
Perfect. He didn't know. I could still spin this. Corporal Blue, I found out some terrible news. Red Captain was the imposter all along. He was infiltrated before we even got into the spaceship. He's been planning against us all along.
That's diabolical, but also the perfect cover. Who would ever suspect the captain? It's just you and me now, Zozo. We only have each other.
At least now I knew I still had Corporal Blue on my side. But for how long? From day 58 to day 62, relieved that Corporal Blue hadn't caught on to the truth about me yet, I continued working on my base. I introduced more sheep to my paddock just to make sure we'd always have more than we needed. But wool wasn't the only thing I wanted to get my hands on. I returned again to the underground mine, going down deeper than I ever have before. After breaking through stone for hours on end, I was finally able to collect plenty of diamonds. These are exactly what I need to make myself stronger, offensively and defensively. The Red Captain would probably appreciate that if he didn't hate my guts. I went back to my base and created a full set of diamond armor, a diamond pickaxe, and a diamond sword. This is more like it! Now that I was fully armed and armored, Corporal Blue approached me yet again, this time with some interesting news.
Zozo, come over here. I've created a valuable new base addition. It's a planning room where we can discuss our next moves against the imposter in private.
I went over and took a look at the new room. It was an amazing creation that clearly came from extensive military experience. I can't even imagine a better place to plan, sir.
Good, because we're going to need to do a lot of planning. If the imposter has truly taken the role of the Red Captain, we're both in grave danger.
From day 63 to day 66, I met with Corporal Blue in the planning room so that we could come up with our next step.
If my intelligence is correct, I believe there may be some important information about the imposter, or rather, the Red Captain, in a nearby area. I need you to be my eyes and ears, Zozo. Will you go inspect the area?
You got it, sir. I'll head there right now. I traveled to the fungal patch immediately, and I found a grove full of huge mushrooms. Looks like there's a fungus among us.
That's a pretty good joke, but I'm afraid the plight of my people is no laughing matter.
I turned around and saw a mushroom lord standing there. I grabbed my sword just in case he decided to try and attack me.
Have you come to invade our home, to kick me and my people out of the place we've lived for years?
No, I don't want to kick anyone out of anywhere. I'm trying to stop the Red Captain from hurting anyone.
If this is true, then you and I have something in common. You look like them, but you behave differently. Perhaps we could be friends, and you could aid me in defending my fellow mushroom people.
Definitely. What can I do to help?
There are enemy forces nearby attempting to drive us out of the area so they can set up a base here. Help me defeat them and protect my home.
You got it. I'm Zozo, by the way.
My name is Lord Chungus.
From day 63 to day 70, I followed Lord Chungus to a nearby house where a bunch of munguses were attacking.
Hey, come help us get rid of these mushrooms.
No can do. They deserve to keep their home. They were here first.
What are you, some kind of traitor? Get him!
The munguses rushed at me, but I hit them with an energy blast. Then I attacked with my sword, and it wasn't too long before I had defeated all of them. I looked around just to make sure no munguses were watching me. Phew, the coast is clear. Everyone here should be safe now, Lord Chungus.
Thank you for your help, Zozo. The mushroom people will tell your story for generations to come.
That's really nice. Thanks. It's good to feel like I'm actually helping. I was starting to worry I might be the bad guy here.
Not bad at all. You're a hero.
From day 71 to day 74, I decided to keep exploring, and I wandered over towards my base. As I walked, I spotted a note on a tree. What's this say? It says to make sure and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more adventures like this one. And don't forget to search Zozo to find more awesome Minecraft videos. Nice note. When I was close to home, I started looking around for useful materials. Before I could find anything, the Red Captain surprised me from behind.
There you are, imposter. I knew I'd find you skulking around here somewhere. You may have survived the security droid, but that was just luck. This time, you won't be so lucky.
I know what your plan is. You're trying to destroy the imposter home planet. That's terrible. People are just trying to live there, and they're not bothering anyone.
False! They aren't bothering me, but bothering all of us. Their very existence is a threat, as is yours. But you won't trouble me for much longer.
He attacked me, and I tried to attack back with my newly upgraded diamond sword, but it barely left a scratch on him. Uh-oh, he's still way too strong for me. I need to get out of here. I fired an energy blast to distract the Red Captain, and then I ran out of there as fast as I could. From day 75 to day 78, I ran all the way back to my base. I was scared that the Red Captain would follow me, but I managed to get back safe and sound. I was way too close for comfort. I can't believe I had to run off instead of fighting him. Such a disappointment to my people. I went to my room to be alone and think about what I could do to fight better next time. After a little while, Corporal Blue came in to see me.
Recruit, I know you're feeling disappointed, but now is not the time to get lost in despair. Come, take a look at this. I added an armory to the base so we can store additional weapons and be prepared for anything.
I followed him towards the new high-tech armory that he had built. Oh wow, this does look really awesome. And you building it means you really believe in me. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Speaking of which, I also have this growth serum for you. Drink it and find the strength you require.
Sir, yes, sir. I drank the growth serum and felt myself getting stronger. My hearts increased to 100, and I also felt like I could take on the world with my newfound strength. This is just what I needed. From day 79 to day 84, I went back to the orchard to see if the Red Captain was there. With my new strength, I had a feeling I would do much better this time. But when I got there, he was nowhere to be found. There were some tarantula hawks lurking around though, and I tested out my new strength on them. They were so much easier to defeat this time around. I'm getting so much better at this. Awesome! A skulk scorpion saw me fight the tarantula hawks and came over to talk to me.
Yo, that was pretty cool. You some kind of hero or something?
I hope so.
Sure seems like it. What's your name, hero?
Zozo.
I like your energy, Zozo. I've got this thing. I've been waiting for the right person to give it to. And I think that person might be you. Here, take these shark tooth arrows.
Oh, thanks. I can use these with my crossbow.
Nice. Get you on the flip side, Z-Man.
From day 85 to day 89, I went back to my base to show Corporal Blue my new shark tooth arrow. But when I got there, I saw a bunch of munguses attacking the base.
That'll show him. That's what happens to imposters. Yeah.
Hey, stop that!
Look, there he is. Let's get him.
Not if I get you first. I attacked the munguses with my new and improved strength.
Yikes, he's strong. Let's get out of here.
Not so fast. I ran after the munguses, but along the way, I saw a pigorus that looked really upset. Hey, what's going on?
Oh, I need some help. I lost my favorite book somewhere around here, but I can't find it.
Let me see if I can find it. I looked around and I found the book. I took it back to the pigorus.
Thank you. I wish I could give you something in return, but I don't have anything. Those munguses took everything I have.
Don't worry about it. I'm happy to help. Did you see what way they went?
Yes, they went that way, where the shuttle is.
From day 90 to day 94, I followed the mungus's tail to the new shuttle, the base that the Red Captain was making to escape the planet. I don't want to get too close. If I do, then the Red Captain's guards will come running out to get me. I'll just focus on that group of munguses that attacked my base. I watched the munguses all go inside, and a member of their group I hadn't seen before came out of the shuttle. That robot golem, he must have been behind the attack. The robot golem spotted me and ran toward me.
I sure was. The Red Captain sent me. I'm his right-hand man, and I'm going to make sure you don't cause him any more trouble. Prepare to be destroyed, Zozo.
Uh-oh, guess it's time for a fight. I fired an energy blast to start, but it didn't have any effect at all. Next, I tried my sword, but he didn't seem to be hurt by that either. This guy's really tough. This is gonna be my hardest fight yet. I decided to drink my strength potion and push forwards. From day 95 to day 97, I continued my fight with the robot golem. He was really tough, the toughest enemy I'd fought so far. For a little while there, I thought I might be a goner. Oh no you don't, I have a planet to save. I thought about all the imposters that would be lost if I didn't save them, and I summoned the strength to defeat the robot golem. When I beat him, I noticed that he dropped a book on the ground. Hey, what's this? I picked it up. These look like the access codes. Wait a second, I bet these are the access codes to the Red Captain's base. With these, I can get inside and surprise him. That might help me win. But I wasn't ready to just run there all of a sudden. I need to get ready if I'm going to go into the captain's base. I'll only get one shot at this, so I'll need to be as strong and as prepared as possible. Back to the base! On day 98, I headed back to my base to prepare for my big battle against the Red Captain. I've only got a couple days left before he tries to exterminate my home planet. I've got to work fast. As I got to work practicing my fighting, the Blue Corporal came up to talk to me.
Zozo, I have to confess something to you. I know that you're not who you say you are. I know you're the imposter.
You do? Are you going to try to destroy me?
No, I'm not. I've looked into what the Red Captain has planned, and that's not what I signed on for. I don't want to be part of destroying a planet full of creatures who aren't doing anything wrong. So even if it goes against everything I thought I knew, I will still stand with you. I'm counting on you to defeat the Red Captain, Zozo. Not just to save your people, but to restore honor to us all, to remind me what it means to be among us.
I will definitely do my best. Thank you, sir.
Oh, one more thing. Take this potion of strength. You'll need it before the final battle.
I took the potion and drank it, and I felt the strength coursing through me. I was finally ready! On day 99, I traveled toward the Red Captain's shuttle. As I did, I passed the pigorus who sent me to find his book.
Thank you again for what you did, Zozo. It really made my day. Whatever you do next, I know you'll do a great job.
Hey, thanks. I continued on my way until I finally reached the shuttle. There were a bunch of mungus guards stationed outside, way too many for me to try and take on at once. Oh no, what should I do now?
How about assistance from a fun guy?
I turned to see the Mushroom Lord standing behind me.
Lord Chungus, you came to help!
I certainly did. Now I'll handle these miscreants out here. You head on inside and unseat the tyrant Red Captain. It will be an honor to fight by your side, Zozo.
You too! Lord Chungus rushed in and started attacking the Munguses. And while Lord Chungus kept the guards busy, I put in the access codes and used them to open the door to the shuttle. Then I ran inside. On day 100, I entered the Red Captain's lair to finally confront him once and for all. I'm back, Captain. Come out and face me.
Imposter, it's time to finally face your fate. I will happily be your judge, jury, and executioner.
You think you're so much stronger than me, but you aren't. I'm going to take you down. I drew my sword and attacked. He dodged my hit, but I didn't give up. I got some distance between us and got out my crossbow and new shark-tooth arrows. I fired an arrow at the Red Captain and it hit.
It's too late. I'm gonna exterminate your planet, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Liar! I'm going to stop you! I fired another arrow and it hit, but he was still up. He came at me and attacked, but I dodged.
If I don't destroy you, one of the others will. Everyone knows what you are now.
And everyone knows which you are too, a villain! He came at me and hit me hard, but I didn't fall down. I kept going. I fired an energy blast and finished him off with my sword. Finally, the Red Captain was defeated. I can't believe it. It's finally over. I hope that Corporal Blue was able to tell the other Munguses what was going on, but at least my planet will be safe. When I made it back to my base, everyone had come back. After they learned Red Captain's plan, they realized he wasn't someone that they wanted to follow. With him out of the way, imposters and Munguses could finally coexist in peace.